Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I became the contracted beast of the Empress. Chapter 61. Luo Qingshan also nodded, and then quickly removed the storage bag from Elder Kai Yan's waist. Let's go, Luo Qingshan said. It's over, isn't it looted here? Wang Dao glanced at the precious portrait hanging on the wall jokingly. No need, the most valuable pills and exercises, and even all the lists of the Dark Temple in the Dagon dynasty must be carried with you. As for the others, it doesn't matter, Luo Qingshan said. In fact, Wang Dao is also playing a joke, but just looking at it like this, Wang Dao suddenly felt that the seemingly ordinary portrait on the wall is a bit wrong. This is a picture of a dragon with its tail swinging. The dragon's body seems to be thousands of feet long. The body is very large, but the most impressive thing is the pair of eyes. It is the dragon pupil that really seems to be carrying a small world. This double dragon pupil makes the entire Shenlong tail swinging picture seem more energetic and more powerful. There is a breath of vast atmosphere rolling in, like a real ancient dragon. This feeling gave Wang Dao a sense of familiarity, as if he didn't know where he felt it. Out of instinct, Wang Dao said, "Take this with you." There is a dignified look in his eyes, and he feels that this thing must not be wrong. This painting is definitely not simple, especially this long tongue might have some secret. Luo Qingshan looked at the painting hanging on the strong wall, frowned at the painting that had not changed at all, but instinctively believed in Wang Dao, quickly removed it, and then took it away. The two beasts and one person left the scene immediately. Only the Red Flame Demon Wolf who was broken into scum and Elder Red Flame who was pierced by an arrow through his chest were left on the ground. Not long after, two young men in large robes rushed over, and when they saw the terrible condition on the ground, they suddenly looked serious and said, "It must be reported. Elder Kai Yan was killed, the dynasty of Dagon, the temple has no owner, and the dignity has also been suffered. Provocation, the storage bag is gone, we must send a strong man to protect the dignity of the temple." Another disciple nodded, and then asked, "How about the enemy's cultivation base?" According to the current tragic situation, the cultivation base is at least the third tier midterm or higher. If you directly killed the Qian Demon Wolf and the Qian Elders so miserably, they must be the powerhouses in the third tier midterm and even later, even the fourth tier ones. Master Yu Beast may also suggest that from this moment, investigate the third order powerhouse of the Dagon dynasty. That humanity. Okay, the strength is set to be above the middle stage of tier 3. Taking advantage of the darkness, the contract beast, which was specially able to travel thousands of miles with intelligence, flew away from the Dagon dynasty. At this moment, Wang Dao and Luo Qingshan also returned to Luoyuan Palace. Luo Qingshan was the first to open the storage bag of Elder Kai Yan. Immediately, Luo Qingshan showed a happy smile on her face. This Elder Kai Yan has a very rich collection, Luo Qingshan said as he looked at the various pills inside. Wang Dao also glanced at it, obediently, in his storage bag. "I don't know how many first-grade pill, and second-grade pill, it's unclear. As for the precious third-grade pill, whether it is a bloodline pill or a spiritual pill for cultivation. There are a lot of them, and there are also a few fourth-grade pill. As for the gold coins commonly used in the Dagon dynasty, there are a lot of them." This trip not only eradicated an enemy, but also gained quite a lot. Although Luo Qingshan was a female emperor in her previous life, she didn't even have the slightest interest in these medicine pills, but now, she really needs it. Her own pill, Lu Kai Shenfeng's pill, and Wang Dao's pill, this is indispensable. And some of the exercises in her mind can indeed sell a lot of money, and even a random spiritual level, holy level exercise can sell enough pill for them to cultivate to the 4th level. But, before she had enough strength, she didn't dare to do this kind of thing to get the chestnut out of the fire. Whether it is an auction house such as Wanbao Pavilion or Tianbao Pavilion, the power in it is far stronger than the power of an ordinary dynasty. If you don't have the power, you will go and sell it. "I am afraid that I don't know how to die." Wang Dao is not surprised. If the Dark Temple is as powerful as Luo Qingshan said, then this Elder Red Flame must get a lot of kickbacks. This is human nature, and most of the Dark Temple of the dynasty. The resources are probably in his hands. Can this resource be insufficient? It was Luo Qingshan's appearance like a small wealth fan, which surprised him, but it was very cute. Then how many resources I wasted before. Luo Qingshan suddenly paused with her fingers, her brows were also twisted, and the clear cheeks were even more tangled. Waste. Resources. What is it? Wang Dao wondered. In the past, on my way to become the sacred beast, Zhaofeng and Aaron and I were fighting for resources on our own. I don't know how many strong people died in my hands along the way, but I didn't have any. Take his storage bag. How much wasted. If I have those resources, I'm afraid that the speed at which I can become the venerable beast in my previous life will be faster. Luo Qingshan was annoyed, and the whole person was extremely regretful. Wang Dao. He found that he seemed to have opened a certain door of Luo Qingshan. By the way, Wang Dao, how did you know the talent skills of the Red Flame Demon Wolf? I don't even know this. Luo Qingshan suddenly remembered Wang Dao's reminder about the Red Flame Demon Wolf during the previous battle. She asked curiously, "This is very strange. There are so many races of contract beasts in the world, and the talents and skills are all different, but Wang Dao knows precisely that this ability is too strong." Wang Dao's cheeks suddenly froze. The Spirit Beast illustrated book is also his great weapon, and there is absolutely no way to explain it to Luo Qingshan. Once explained, the system is bound to be exposed. Reading, there is Yan Ruyu in the book, and the Golden House in the book. Wang Dao said, I just saw the introduction of the Red Flame Demon Wolf today, so I know a little bit. Hey, it seems that the Scarlet Flame Demon Wolf was splashed with a little blood just now. This is too disgusting. You must wash it. After speaking, Wang Dao muttered to himself and slipped away from where he had taken a bath before. Luo Qingshan. This Wang Dao. There is Yan Ruyu in the book, and the House of Gold in the book, which is quite similar. But it's really such a coincidence. I really happened to see a book about the introduction of the Red Flame Demon Wolf. Why is she so unbelievable? Someone who is lazy in cultivation can still read. Reading. Lu Kai Shenfeng, who was also a small fortune fan, suddenly seemed to remember something when he heard this. Wang Dao did hide a book. I wanted to read it when I looked for him in the evening, but he was stingy and didn't show it to me. He hid it. I know the location. He has gone to take a bath. Shall we go and see? Lu Kai Shenfeng suddenly made a suggestion, curiously saying. Luo Qingshan looked at the six-color Shenfeng who made the suggestion, and nodded without any hesitation. Since Wang Dao has gone to take a bath, let's see where he got the book about spirit beasts. The fiery red scaly feathers of Liu Kai Shenfeng also seemed to turn redder at this moment. She was also very curious about what Wang Dao was looking at. But Luo Qingshan didn't ask about this before, as the six-colored divine phoenix, who is a divine beast in his blood, is really embarrassed to get it. But now that Luo Qingshan nodded, naturally there is no problem. Suddenly, Liu Kai Shenfeng moved his steps to the place where he had read Wang Dao's book before. It was also in Luoyan Palace, under Luo Qingshan's big bed. It's here. Luo Qingshan was very surprised. Liu Kai Shenfeng's petite head nodded immediately, and then, without hesitation, Luo Qingshan reached out and picked up a thin book under the bed. At this moment, Wang Dao, who had just walked in, just walked out. He didn't really want to take a bath. This was just a cover. He just walked in and summoned the bodyguard, and burned some dust to annihilate it. That's it. As for launching, that is even more unnecessary. The main thing is to avoid Luo Qingshan's questioning. For Wang Dao, this spirit beast illustration is very difficult to explain. If it is forced to explain, I am afraid that the system will be exposed. The system is his biggest secret, and unlike Luo Qingshan's rebirth, Wang Dao will never tell this secret until the end. Even if Luo Qingshan treats him very well. But as soon as he came out, Wang Dao realized that something was wrong, and Luo Qingshan had an extra book in his hand. Reading is good. Is this my book? The hairs on Wang Dao's body were erected. He was extremely excited, and then he wanted to pounce, still yelling, don't look. But Luo Qingshan also noticed Wang Dao's expression. She smiled and said, I really didn't realize that you don't like to practice, but you still like to read books, so what's the matter with me? Luo Qingshan opened the book directly, but saw a few big characters. Guide to Appreciation of Alien Beast Your Mother. Luo Qingshan almost shook her hand. What the hell? Isn't it an introduction to contract beasts like the Scarlet Flame Demon Wolf? Social death. Wang Dao's body was stiff in the air, and after landing, he immediately wanted to drive away. The eyes of Luo Qingxian and Liu Kai Shenfeng also changed. At this moment, they changed. Especially Luo Qingxian, that perfectly crystal clear face turned rosy, she couldn't believe it. My own contract beast actually likes to watch this kind of thing. She turned vigorously. Wang Dao, where did you get the message of the Scarlet Flame Demon Wolf in it? Tell me, where did you see it? Luo Qingxian was almost mad. She bit her red lips, her whole face was swollen with anger. It looks very cute. It's just terrifying in Wang Dao's eyes. Liu Kai Shenfeng's voice also rang. Rogue, rogue, Wang Dao is wrong with you. With a crisp voice, Liu Kai Shenfeng's beautiful scaly feathers were all angrily opened, and his eyes were also angry. Even Wang Dao's face could not help but become embarrassed at this moment. But he was a little bit inexplicable. Luo Qingxian was angry that he could understand, but Liu Kai Shenfeng was so angry for Mao. However, right now, it's definitely not a good place to stay. My stomach hurts suddenly. Go ahead. With that, Wang Dao's golden body immediately slipped away. Although I don't know where to go, it is better to escape Luo Qingxian first. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will explode tonight. You come back to me. Luo Qingxian shouted loudly behind Wang Dao. But at this moment, Wang Dao's speed was faster than that of Tier 3 Agile Contract Beast, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Dao slipped away. Behind him, Luo Qingxian's chest was bulging. Ah! Liu Kai Shenfeng is inexplicable, and those who are wronged will cry. Quote. After slipping out, Wang Dao let out a long sigh of relief. He was puzzled. It didn't make sense. How did they find that I put the book under the big bed? Isn't it the more dangerous place as the safer place? The ancients, pit me. Wang Dao cursed. In the dark night, even the imperial palace was extremely quiet at the moment. Wang Dao felt painful. Where are we going now? Su Mingyu's room. Not even that. I'm afraid I'm asleep at this night. If I don't have any clothes, I am going to be a master by myself. Isn't it embarrassing? Also at this time, ding, the new sign in place has been unlocked. The current sign in place, Dagon Palace, Dagon Hall, and the Royal Forbidden Area. Sign in for 1 night, reward Teodi real body, multiply by 1. The sound of the system made Wang Dao's eyes suddenly light up, and Wang Dao looked over with a smile. The Great Hall of the Lord was not in another location, it was the hall where Luo Qingxian and Emperor Qian were discussed. Dagandian, also known as the Hall of Nourishing the Heart, was the place where the Emperor Gan handled his official duties, and Wang Dao had already felt a strange sensation from his bloodline there. It's like there is something underneath that is always calling itself. What's the new sign in place? Wang Dao muttered to himself. Then I went to the Great Hall of God without hesitation. Teodi's real body, rewarded once, although I don't know what Teodi's real body does, but just listening, Wang Dao feels very extraordinary. How can you miss this reward? Going right now. Wang Dao walked all the way and came to the Great Hall of the Lord. The Great Hall of the Lord at night looked even more eerie and terrifying, especially the corner of the hall where the bones of the Tier 4 contract beast were placed outside. It was extremely terrifying. Today, let me see what exactly is in the forbidden land of your Dagon dynasty. Wang Dao showed a touch of curiosity, and then took advantage of a group of Yulin army to walk directly into the hall. The hall was empty at the moment, only the golden dragon chair was left on it. Where does this go in? Wang Dao frowned. The empty hall is extremely wide, and the forbidden area under this hall must have a special entrance to enter. When he was frowning and was about to go back to ask Luo Qingxian, that strong feeling suddenly struck again, stronger than ever. It was a call from the blood. Instinctively, Wang Dao stepped onto the supreme dragon chair, which symbolized endless imperial power. There were complicated patterns on the dragon chair. He sat down. The dragon chair is cold, but there is no special touch. But instinctively, Wang Dao seemed to feel something. With a sudden turn, the dragon chair underneath also made a click. Under the dragon chair, a hole suddenly appeared. The forbidden area of the Dagon dynasty was hidden under the dragon chair of this weird hall. If this is not noticed, or if there is no reminder of the blood echo, even if you sit on it, you will not notice anything wrong. Facing the dark hole, Wang Dao jumped down without any hesitation. And at this moment, the opening of the hole made a creak, and the dragon chair slowly turned, returning to its original position. There was no other sound in the huge great hall of the Lord. And Wang Dao also entered the forbidden area of the Dagon dynasty. It's really black, not even a light, Wang Dao complained in his heart. Grass. Wang Dao summoned his Teodi real fire. Suddenly, endless fire light illuminates the forbidden area. Only then can Wang Dao see the slightest appearance of the forbidden land. What you see is an extremely old mural. On the mural, you don't know what kind of contract beast is tattooed on it. Even if it is tattooed on the stone wall, it is still fierce. His body is very big, his whole body is black, covered by hard and powerful scales, and his eyes are extremely cruel. And underneath, there are some petite and trembling contract beasts, each one looks very extraordinary, but the contract beast suppressed shivering and dared not move. Wang Dao glanced at the contracted beast's eyes. I just feel that the full of ferocity seems to be swept through this huge rock wall. So fierce. Wang Dao was also taken aback. It seems that the forbidden area of the Dagon dynasty is not as weak as I thought. On the contrary, it is very old, and there is absolutely some amazing secret hidden in it, and since entering the forbidden area, the call between the blood vessels has become clearer and clearer. In front of him is a restriction, extremely complicated. Wang Dao just wanted to take a step forward, but found that endless ferocity was coming straight towards him, and there seemed to be an extremely powerful aura that seemed to warn him. He can understand. What the owner of this breath told him is, go one step further and die. This breath is definitely above tier 4. There are still such cheating people in the forbidden area of the Dagon dynasty. Wang Dao took this down, his eyes condensed, and if he and Luo Qingshan and this Qianwang turn his face at that time, he must figure out who this person is. Otherwise, in the middle of the fight, this person rushed out to be the helper of the emperor, or the supreme emperor of the Dagon dynasty, then it would be finished. Even if they do not die, they are fate of fleeing in embarrassment. System, has it reached the scope of sign-in? Wang Dao asked in his mind. I have arrived at the sign-in range, sign in forbidden area for one night, and get Teodi's real body once. The voice of the system came. Good. Wang Dao's main purpose is to sign in, and he can sign in close to the prohibition. Naturally, there is no need to move forward, so there is no need to offend that powerful person. When the night passed, Teodi's real body got it all at once. In any case, he had an extra layer of life-saving means. By then, even if it was a force, he would have confidence. As for now, let's be wretched. After Wang Dao didn't advance, the extremely powerful aura inside did not flow out. It seems that everything has returned to a safe and sound appearance. If so, it's just right. Wang Dao heaved a sigh of relief. If that person didn't even let him stay here, it would be too much. As for the voice that was still calling from the bottom of his heart as if he needed his blood, Wang Dao selectively skipped it. He is a very safe person, and this call between bloodlines is obviously not a very safe thing. It may be an opportunity, or it may be a disaster. He originally didn't intend to care about it. Just to sign in. The system works automatically. You only need to stay here for one night to sign in. Therefore, Wang Dao directly chose to sleep on the ground. Anyway, there is Teodi's real fire defense, and there is no need to worry about safety. After a while, Wang Dao fell asleep, directly shielding the breath that kept calling him. In the space, it seems that there is indeed a layer of faint fluctuations that are constantly ringing. Come on, come on. Save me, I will give you exercises, give you opportunities. Come in, it's okay, that old thing can't kill you. I trapped him with a secret method. But these words all turned into waves of blood calling. After calling for a long while, the constant calling in the space also stopped, turning into a touch of doubt. Why is there no movement? Don't even move. Didn't you come to save me? After a while, a vicious voice appeared in the spatial fluctuations. Well, I have been trapped for 500 years. This is the only contract beast with blood that can call on it. I can't miss this opportunity. Pay some price. Suddenly, accompanied by a burst of space, a burst of fluctuations, and a burst of painful price. The stone wall seemed to light up, and these contract beasts seemed to be alive. Suddenly, in front of where Wang Dao was sleeping, a huge dog's head emerged. His body seemed to be restrained, only a huge dog's head was exposed outside, which was a huge black dog's head, accompanied by a burst of majesty. When he saw Wang Dao, his brows frowned. What's the matter? How can the bloodline that echoes this seat be a mortal bloodline? Or is it a little dog? It shouldn't be. How can he save me? I also spent such a huge price to block the perception of that old thing. If you can't escape, you will lose a lot. At this time, Teodi Shinho, who had been serving as a guard for Wang Dao's protective umbrella, also issued a warning, and Wang Dao immediately opened his somewhat distressed eyes. In the eyes, there is a huge black dog's head. Wang Dao retreated instantly, with a panic in his eyes. Why did he squint for a while, and a big dog's head appeared in front of him? Where is the black dog's head? Wang Dao said, "You little earth dog of fan-level blood contract beast, do you have the slightest knowledge, what kind of black dog head? I am the Black Dog Emperor. That's the legendary Black Dog Emperor who can fight Shenlong and drink the descendants of the Phoenix clan every day." The black dog said, dissatisfied, but when it came to the back, his face was full of pride. "So, isn't it a black dog?" Wang Dao asked rhetorically. As for those words, Wang Dao was purely cheating. Maybe this black dog is really a character, but he can never catch the flying dragon by his hand and swallow the phoenix by his mouth. Black Dog Emperor. Resisting the urge to slap him to death with a slap, the great black dog said, "You are still young, don't understand, but the blood call I made you feel before, should you feel it?" The great black dog thought of what he had to do, so he spoke. "That wave." Wang Dao thought for a while and nodded, "I felt it." A smile appeared on the face of Emperor Black Dog. "Although this body is a little bit worse, it's no problem. According to his Black Dog Emperor's talent and years of collection, it will be a matter of time before he becomes a strong one. Since you feel this wave of fluctuations, then you should know that our blood is of the same origin, which means that I am your father and your ancestor. Would you like to do something for me?" The great black dog was very serious, said with a serious look. When Wang Dao heard this, he furiously said, "I am your father, I am your ancestor." In the huge forbidden area, the great black dog was stunned. He looked at Wang Dao in disbelief, with horror in his eyes, as if he couldn't believe what Wang Dao said. "What did you say to me?" The black dog's nose was about to smoke. Wang Dao looked at this huge black dog's head. He was really curious. What exactly did this black dog think? He was already trapped, and he was still so arrogant, and he wanted to save him by himself. In the end, he said he was his ancestor and his father. Isn't this what the curse is? If this is put outside, it is not just cursing, but also pumping. It's too ridiculous. And he wanted to hear that, so Wang Dao said again, "The nest is your father." Emperor Black Dog broke the defense. In the contract beast, the most important thing is the bloodline. If the bloodline calls for success, there must be a trace of connection. The ancestors are the most reliable, although the Black Dog Emperor and Wang Dao have no blood relationship. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with what he imitated, but now he is scolded like this by Wang Dao. This Wang Dao is to deceive his family and destroy his ancestors. The great black dog said in his heart for the first time. Otherwise, according to the feelings between the contract beasts, the junior is willing to do anything for the senior. Even if it is to die. In order to go out, the great black dog said with a smile, "Forget it, don't worry about this, then, you just have to empty yourself, don't resist me, I will give you countless treasures." Wang Dao looked at the great black dog like a fool. He just wanted to laugh, but he didn't panic inside. At the very beginning, Wang Dao used the Spirit Beast illustrated book to analyze the great black dog. The great black dog is indeed extraordinary. It is the ancient black dog, the pure blood of the beast, who was once a ruthless person, but now he is trapped in the immortal spirit wall and cannot come out, let alone deal with him. Some of the previous methods only shielded perception and sound. It's impossible for him to take action in it, and that's the real reason why Wang Dao hasn't made any sense for a long time. Otherwise, you would have slipped away a long time ago. What look in your eyes? The great black dog felt that he was injured, and he was also seriously injured. This little mortal contract beast, he didn't know how many pieces he had blown to death before, and now he dared to look at him with such foolish eyes. Really looking for death? Do you believe this king swallowed you? The great black dog said sharply, revealing his sharp fangs. At the same time accompanied by a strong coercion. This coercion overwhelmed Wang Dao. Of course, he was not trying to kill Wang Dao, but to threaten Wang Dao to feel scared. Wang Dao glanced at the great black dog with disdain, and dug his nostrils at will, then you are here to kill me. Just right, here, please die. He knows the details of the Great Black Dog, so why are you panicking? Black Dog Emperor, are there anyone who is not afraid of death these days? But to be honest, he was also a candlestick with a silver gun. There was no way to get Wang Dao at all. This immortal spirit wall directly froze his cultivation base. Even if it was to shield the old man in the depths of the forbidden area, he used great power. As for the shot, it is absolutely impossible to shot. But this point, he was sure that Wang Dao would not be able to see. How strong can Wang Dao, a small mortal contract beast? How is it possible to see his thoughts and strength? But it was in trouble right now. What was wrong with it, and it turned out to be such an arrogant guy. Please die. This year, the ants are still surviving, and this guy is begging to die. Since you are going to die, don't waste it, give me your body. The Great Black Dog said tentatively. This has actually exposed his true purpose. But he has no other way. After all, he can't make a move, even if he can. According to the idea that the contract beast really wants to die, what can he do with him? And if he could be forcibly deprived and let Wang Dao be suppressed in this stone wall instead of him, then he would definitely not waste a word. Oh, finally revealed the true purpose. Wang Dao raised his eyebrows. At this moment he knew what the Great Black Dog wanted to do. The previous bloodline fluctuation is probably to lure him, let him enter this stone wall instead and be suppressed. This guy is so vicious. But Wang Dao suddenly thought of something. His eyes rolled, and a sad expression appeared. It's not impossible to give this body to you. Really? The Great Black Dog suddenly revealed a look of surprise. His entire face was full of excitement, and the entire dog's head was extremely shaken. He has been troubled by this stone wall for too long, too lonely. There is no one else in the entire forbidden area, and even the old man who guards him has been taken away by him for several times. He has been trapped here. He wanted to go out in his dreams. There was a vast world outside, a powerful contract beast, and a world belonging to him. He could even avenge him. All this is what he dreams of. All when Wang Dao appeared, his hope came. Even if there is only a mortal bloodline, even if the talent is mediocre, but freedom is better than everything. However, there was an accident in the plan. Wang Dao was a fool who deceived his ancestors, so even in the mood of the Great Black Dog, he was anxiously scratching his head at this moment, but suddenly, happiness came. Wang Dao agreed. You can give him your body. Looking at the look of the Great Black Dog, Wang Dao pretended to hesitate again, but it's not possible now. I still have some hopes that I haven't fulfilled. I'm afraid I won't be finished in this life, and I won't be able to help you. When the Great Black Dog heard this, he was immediately anxious. Wishes. Just talk and listen. Are you going to die as long as you fulfill these wishes? The Great Black Dog hurriedly said. He didn't feel that Wang Dao was telling lies. After all, what he had just simulated was the imperial beast pressure of Tier 5 and above. This aura of a mortal contract beast in the middle of Tier 2 was absolutely dead. But Wang Dao said he wanted to die. This means that Wang Dao really wants to die. So, later, the Great Black Dog immediately believed. Yes, if it can be done, I will die willingly, but it's a pity that I can only live my life. Wang Dao once again stimulated the Great Black Dog. I'm anxiously dead. You, a small mortal contract beast, what great pressure can you have? If you can have any unfulfilled wishes, just say, the Emperor will definitely wish you complete. The Great Black Dog said immediately. You. Wang Dao looked at the Great Black Dog with a skeptical look. Then he immediately lay down again, intending to sleep. Don't believe me. The Great Black Dog suddenly became fussy. You little contract beast, quickly tell me the wish in your heart. The Emperor wishes you complete. Then, you only need to give me your body willingly. At this moment, the Black Dog Emperor deliberately once again simulated the previous power. In an instant, the entire forbidden area was filled with pressure. At this moment, the Great Black Dog exerted his full strength, the full power of the 6th Order Sacred Beast. This is also the limit he can simulate. Tier 6 is holy, Tier 7 is a beast. This is a completely different level. For Contract Beast, the 6th and 7th ranks are a world of difference. But the power of Tier 6 is already terrifying enough. The Emperor will do everything possible to wish you fulfilled your wish. Just say it. Here comes. Wang Dao was delighted in his heart. Wang Dao is known for his steadiness, but how could he give up because of the cheap price he delivered? Don't do it for nothing. He showed a trace of horror, as if he was stunned by the hand of the great black dog, and there was horror on his entire face. The great black dog was very satisfied with Wang Dao's reaction, and he smiled. Now you know how great this emperor is. Say it. Wang Dao twisted and squeezed, as if he was groaning. A small beast in my royal beast tower, as a mortal contract beast, is still the bottom of the existence. Can you understand this tragic situation? The great black dog nodded. He did understand that, in the world of beasts, the blood of contract beasts determines everything. It can be called fundamental. Therefore, a mortal contract beast is very bullied. In the royal beast tower, a spirit beast is bullied. You beast master also looked down upon. Therefore, what Wang Dao said, he can understand. But my contract beast is the most talented princess of the entire Dagon dynasty, and his other contract beast is the legendary six-color phoenix of the bloodline of the holy product. She saw that I was lovely and contracted me. I thought it was lucky, but in fact, it was a miserable beginning. The bloodline is not equal, the talent is not equal, and I don't have much practice. I think that even if I don't tell the rest, Brother Black Dog understands the rest. Wang Dao said, the best way to deal with this kind of old fox is to be ambiguous and let him make up for himself. The more he makes up for himself, the more true this matter will be. The black dog's face has changed. This, he can understand. It must be extremely miserable for a weak contract beast of mortal blood to get along with a talented beast master, and a six-color sacred wind of holy blood. He understood. Even the situation of the little contract beast in front of him appeared in his brain. No wonder begging for death. It turned out that it was for this reason. Silently apologized to Luo Qingshan and Liukai Shenfeng from the bottom of my heart, and Wang Dao continued to say loudly and forcefully, so, I have to prove myself. I want to be stronger, I want to shock them. However, I lack a powerful technique to help me catch up with them. This is easy, said the great black dog. This matter is not difficult for him. Although the contract beast of the saint-level bloodline is indeed highly talented, as long as the cultivation technique is flawed, there is no problem. I want a handy weapon to help me beat them up. Weapons, easy to handle. The great black dog repeatedly said. Can you really help me? Wang Dao looked at Emperor Black Dog sincerely. It's natural, but what do you do if you lie to me? We need to sign a contract between you and me, and let God witness. I will help you fulfill your wish, and you will hand over your body to me willingly. Black Dog Great Emperor rode. Heaven's oath, using the name as a curse, and God's tracking, if you disobey, there will be punishment by the heaven, but if it is not the real name, the contract will be invalid. The system's voice suddenly sounded. Wang Dao looked righteous, and said angrily, is Wang Dao that kind of person? But if you don't, rest assured, I, King Dao, will accompany you to let God witness the oath. Righteously said something. The Black Dog Great Emperor was ashamed. Brother Dao Wang, I'm sorry. Don't blame me for being cautious, but I'm afraid that if I lose my baby, you will disappear again. The Great Black Dog spoke. Oath to heaven, Wang Dao said. Suddenly the two began to swear, but the content is actually very simple. The Great Black Dog initiated the contract, and Wang Dao read it again. I, the Great Black Dog. Me, Dao Wang. Quote. After a while of the ceremony, the great black dog showed a relieved smile, and then his heart moved. A dark, seemingly mysterious exercise method appeared in front of Wang Dao's eyes. This is a determination for good fortune, a magical beast-level technique. With it, catching up with and surpassing is no problem. As soon as this good fortune came out, Wang Dao felt that the Teoti bloodline in his body seemed to be sending out longing desires. Sent. Wang Dao picked it up directly. Good Fortune Ju, the incomplete technique, has been automatically upgraded. The god of good fortune, Teoti belongs to destruction. The god of good fortune is definitely a creation. It is automatically resolved, and the practice is automatically started. The on-hook practice of the system was directly stimulated. Where are the weapons? Wang Dao asked quickly. He still underestimates this black dog. He is indeed capable. The shot is so generous. The great black dog showed a trace of pain. This is my life spirit treasure, the god of purgatory stick. With him, as long as you practice the god of good fortune, even if you want to use a stick, the six-color god Phoenix can't stand it. Quote. You must remember to cherish. When the voice fell, a long black stick appeared in front of Wang Dao. I don't know what material the long stick was made of. There was a horrible atmosphere all over his body. His appearance even made the air thicker. Good baby. Wang Dao's eyes suddenly lit up. What a shame. Wang Dao took the purgatory stick in his hand. There was a touch of pain in the eyes of the great black dog. But it quickly returned to normal. This purgatory god stick is his life spirit treasure, and at the same time, he has his mark on his body, and the existence of this imprint, this life spirit treasure, even if it is scattered everywhere, it will definitely not escape his control. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you lend it to Wang Dao temporarily. There was a fiery color in Wang Dao's eyes. This is an absolutely good treasure, even better than the previous god of good fortune. System, is there any imprint, can it be erased? Can. Wang Dao was happy in his heart, but kept quiet. After the sign-in tonight is over, erase it. My business, don't forget it. The great black dog reminded. No problem, leave it to me. Wang Dao nodded. Then he got down. The great black dog was also silent. The next day, at dawn. Sign-in is successful, congratulations to the host for getting it, Teoti's real body, once, the specific information can be checked in my mind. Wang Dao's eyes lit up. And then drove off immediately. The great black dog looked at Wang Dao who was fleeing immediately, and didn't forget to shout, after the revenge, come back early. I'm here waiting for you. But Wang Dao's figure has disappeared. There is the existence of the purgatory stick, it's useless where you go. Said the great black dog. This purgatory god stick has a touch of his consciousness and brand, so he can perceive it no matter where Wang Dao is. This is also a great way for him to prevent. But in an instant, the black dog's smile froze, and then he roared, where's the brand of my spiritual consciousness? Dagon Palace. Emperor Qian was closing his eyes to rest his mind. He was thinking about the elder Kai Yan of the Dark Temple. As the Supreme Empire, but in Luo Qingshan this matter, he has no choice, Luo Qingshan must die. I'm afraid that now, Qingzan has no bones left. Emperor Qian said to himself, but his eyes did not fluctuate much. At this time, two Dark Temple disciples wearing wide clothes ran into Cao Cao with a panic expression, kneeling in panic before Qianwang. Seeing the panic expressions of the two of them, Qianwang frowned. I don't know, this is my dynasty. You broke in like this. The two disciples ran all the way from the Dark Temple to the Great Dry Palace. At this moment, before they could catch their breath, they said solemnly. Report, Elder Kai Yan was killed by mysterious forces. Upon hearing this, Qianwang stood up from the dragon chair with a horrified expression and asked. You said that Elder Kai Yan is dead. The Qianwang wearing a golden dragon robe was full of horror. He felt that God had made a great joke with him. What is the strength of Elder Kai Yan? But he still asked eagerly. What about Qingzan? Is Qingzan still alive? The two disciples shook their heads and reported truthfully. The assassination failed, and the fighting at the scene was very miserable. It is estimated that the Tier 4 powerhouse took action. In addition, the storage bag in the temple was looted. As a powerhouse of the Dark Temple, Elder Kai Yan is a powerhouse above Tier 3, if he was killed, it must not have been caused by Luo Qingshan. This had to make him think about the mysterious power in Dagon Forbidden Area. But after thinking about it, he shook his head, even if it was the mysterious person in the Forbidden Land, but his storage bags and other belongings were looted, this is impossible. This had to make Qianwang doubt that it was Luo Qingshan's work, but Elder Kai Yan's strength had already entered the third rank. With Qingshan's second-order strength, it was impossible to obliterate him in a span of stages. They also said that it is a Tier 4 powerhouse. But it was a coincidence. He had just ordered Luo Qingshan to be killed, but the result was that Elder Kai Yan was killed, but it was not Luo Qingshan who did it. The whole thing immediately became confusing and confusing. Go to the Dark Temple to investigate again. If you have any news, report it to me immediately. After calming down, Qianwang ordered. At this moment, Luoyan Palace. Wang Dao walked into the palace with two treasures contented and carefully opened the door, and saw Luo Qingshan practicing with his legs crossed and closed his eyes. Wow! Wang Dao roared, which directly awakened Luo Qingshan. Luo Qingshan was absorbing the pill that he had seized, and his cultivation was interrupted. He said angrily, "Wang Dao, don't you know I'm cultivating? I ran away last night, and dare to come back today." Wang Dao looked innocent, but Luo Qingshan's words came to a halt in the next action. Wang Dao jumped directly onto the table, holding 2 treasures in his hands, and said cheerfully, "Let you see what treasures I got today." Wang Dao took out a dark ancient book, shook his head and continued. "This is a good fortune art, but it is a magical beast level technique. Liu Kai Shenfeng, although you are of a saint level bloodline, your technique is not a mystical beast level, right?" While showing off, Wang Dao looked at Liu Kai Shenfeng triumphantly. Liu Kai Shenfeng turned his head and said with disdain, "Cut. A little dog is probably deceived by someone. Does it mean that there is a magical animal level technique?" "That's it." Luo Qingshan also looked surprised. Even if she is a female emperor, these techniques are extremely precious. She has few books. Wang Dao was speechless. He and the great black dog took a lot of time to deceive him, but these people didn't believe it. Therefore, Wang Dao told how he discovered the Black Dog Emperor and how to trick the Black Dog Emperor step by step, but he didn't say to remove the branding. If he said it, the system will definitely be noticed by them. After hearing this, the eyes of the 2 looking at Wang Dao immediately changed. This is too terrible. The dignified emperor was turned around. Luo Qingshan even forgot to teach Wang Dao. They even felt that if they were not paying attention, they would be deceived by Wang Dao. This Wang Dao is too shameless to deceive people. That's too real. Compared with the exercises, Liu Kai Shenfeng was even more curious about the Black Dog Emperor's natal magic stick, so he asked urgently, "Then what stick? Show it to me quickly." "Hey, you Earth Phoenix, what god stick? It has a name." Wang Dao smiled slyly, and when he was pulling out the God of Purgatory stick, he suddenly waved to the 6-color god Phoenix. The terrifying breath filled the entire Luoyan palace, and the black god stick made the air thicker. A field is all over the Luoyan palace. Liu Kai Shenfeng never expected Wang Dao to make a sudden move, but it was too late to react. She raised her head and looked at Wang Dao stubbornly. At this time, Wang Dao withdrew the purgatory stick in his hand and said with a smile, scare you, let you feel the power." Seeing being teased, Liu Kai Shenfeng stared at Wang Dao with wide eyes, but because of the purgatory god stick in his hand, he had to shut his mouth obediently. Luo Qingshan on the side shook her head slightly after seeing Liu Kai Shenfeng Wang Dao teasing, but this terrifying power made her look at the magic stick in Wang Dao's hand again. When the purgatory god rod was pulled out, the atmosphere dropped suddenly, as if placing them in an ice cellar. "Wang Dao, you got such 2 precious treasures, you said that the Black Dog Emperor wouldn't settle accounts with you," Luo Qingshan said with a look. Wang Dao fiddled with the magic stick triumphantly, and his words were full of mockery. "Then what bullshit Black Dog Great Emperor, he was trapped in and couldn't get out. I guess he hasn't noticed that he was cheated yet." After speaking, Wang Dao couldn't help laughing. Luo Qingshan was not worried either. The treasures under the world must be accompanied by danger, and the great black dog was obviously trapped. After all, it was forbidden by the imperial court. It was imprisoned for hundreds of years and would not be able to come out for a while, but the Black Dog Great Emperor was indeed terrifying, and his weapon alone was enough to stun him. If the Black Dog Emperor breaks free from the knot and prints out, our trouble will come. It doesn't matter, there is a way. Wang Dao jumped aside, pressed the magic stick under him, and took care of him like a treasure. Outside the imperial court, several horses tied with red ropes rushed towards the imperial court. In the back row of the carriage, there were countless soldiers in armors gathering. Surrounded by them was the prince of the great Li dynasty, Song Ting. Today, Song Ting came to the court to marry Luo Qingshan in accordance with the marriage contract 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, after learning about the marriage, Luo Qingshan was the first to object and threatened that she would not marry. As for the marriage contract, it was extremely ridiculous. But the objection is invalid. As early as 100 years ago, the 2 founding fathers worshipped their brothers. Since then, the 2 families have supported each other and flourished. Both veterans felt that being a marriage was very important, and they could cooperate better. So at that time, they decided that if the eldest son goes back, if it is a man and a woman, then they will make a marriage contract and make a couple. When Luo Qingshan and Song Ting were born, they agreed with the two elders and signed the marriage contract. But today, their Song family is here. It's here to divorce. When a member of the Song family came to the Dagon dynasty, they were told by the shadow that they could not go to the main courtyard, they had to go around the back door, and then went to Luoyan Palace. The Song family also wanted to theory with the shadow, but what they got was the indifference of the shadow, and claimed that this was the will of the Emperor Qian himself. This couldn't help making the Song family furious. As a noble of the Dali dynasty, their Song family was going to be reduced to the back door. What is this? Is there no one in the eyes of Qianwang? Isn't the Luo family a generation of dynasties? According to the court agreement, we were not allowed to enter the main courtyard, but instead let us go through the back door. Is this mocking our Song family? Some family elders looked cold. Nothing. Today they are here to divorce, and the big deal is unhappy, and they don't need the Luo family. A few years ago, our elders would never agree to this marriage if they didn't think that the Luo family had potential, but the goddess actually looked down on us. How can he know that 3 years later, today, even if he is the emperor, he has to face us? A beautiful man said indifferently. Since they are absolutely nothing, then we don't have to worry about his face. Luo Qingshan. A member of the Song family came to the backyard. It was strange that they did not see Luo Qingshan, but the back door was hidden, and everyone had to go in. Although it was the back door, there was no court lady at the back door at this time. Even if the Luo family doesn't want to meet, they have to send someone to lead the way. At this time, Luo Qingshan had no idea that the Song family had already arrived as agreed. She was closing her eyes to practice, and Wang Dao was snoring harshly. Lu Kai Shenfang knew that Luo Qingshan was cultivating and needed to be quiet, but when she thought of the purgatory god stick in Wang Dao's hand, she was not very good at talking about Wang Dao. I can only curse Wang Dao constantly in my heart. Ha, ha, ha. The heavy snoring awakened Luo Qingshan again, and she opened her eyes to see that Wang Dao was lying there asleep like a dead dog. This Wang Dao, no matter if you don't practice, the sleeping snoring is still so loud. Luo Qingshan bit her silver teeth. At this time, noisy footsteps came from outside Luoyan Palace, and there were many voices of people talking. With a bang, Luoyan Palace was pushed aside by brute force, and Wang Dao was awakened directly by this blow. What's the matter? Who would dare to disturb Laozi's sleep? She almost saw Sister Chang'e taking a bath. Wang Dao wiped the halazi, and when he heard the noise outside, he realized that the situation was not right. I thought it was Qianwang who sent someone over to question, but the few elders in the lead were not the people of Qianwang at first glance. So they entered the palace like this. The Song family came to the back door mightily, and stopped to rest in the Luoyan Palace compound. At this time, Song Yang, Song's ancestor, came to Luoyan Palace in a stride. I am the elder of Song dynasty. I take the liberty to meet today. I hope I can meet the third princess and come to explain the proposal of marriage. Song Yongsheng said like Hongzong. The loud voice made the vegetation sway within a radius of a few miles. He specifically mentioned the marriage. Luo Qingshan's eyes flashed, but after learning the identity of the other party, there was a sharp flash in her beautiful eyes. Song family. Luo Qingshan walked out, straightened out the folds of his clothes, and walked in front of Song Yang. Seeing Luo Qingshan's indifferent expression, Song Yang snorted coldly and said, "Crazy girl, please kneel down and please peace when you see me." In terms of seniority, he and the first emperor of the Luo family are brothers who are racing together on the battlefield. Today, he was forced to go through the back door. It still depends on the love of the first emperor of the Luo family. Now, Luo Qingshan is no more than the second-tier midterm, and is far less powerful than Song Ting. As a result, there will be a gap among them, and the marriage contract will naturally be abolished. Today, 3 years later, the Song family came here specially, in fact, to annul the marriage contract. Song Ting has already won the favor of a goddess, and now Luo Qingshan is naturally unworthy. Today is the day of our Song family marriage. You and an adult, according to the agreement, are here for an appointment today, but... Speaking of this, Song Yang's words stopped abruptly, as if thinking about how to organize the language. At this moment, a young man walked out from behind Song Yang, wearing golden silk and thin silk. He looked extraordinary. With a delicate face, the two sword eyebrows were inserted diagonally into the temple, and the thin lips slowly said, "Since it's here, don't hesitate anymore." Song Ting's conversation turned, her gaze towards Luo Qingshan was in vain. "Today, our Song family is here to divorce you." Speaking of this, Song Ting's eyes were full of mockery. In the era of royal beasts, strength is king. If there is no Qianwang, no princess status, this Luo Qingshan is nothing but an ordinary woman. He Song Ting is the eldest son of the first family of the Great Li dynasty. He wears a lot of honor and heroically kills enemies on the battlefield. The contract beast is of a saint-level bloodline. Over the past few years, the family has grown. And get the patience of the goddess. Nowadays, how can a down-and-out Dagon dynasty come into his eyes? Even if Luo Qingshan knelt down and begged him now, it was useless. This marriage contract was over. After that, Song Ting took out the marriage contract signed by the two elders before, in full view of the public. The marriage contract will be torn in half by him today. But at this moment, a fierce force suddenly struck, and everyone in the Song family hurriedly escorted Song Ting and Song Yang behind them. Could there be an ambush? Is this a Hongmen banquet? Everyone looked around vigilantly, only to see a dark shadow quickly passing by, and the terrifying formation made Song family and the others restless. "Who?" Song Yang said majestically. At this time, they noticed that a yellow dog suddenly appeared beside Luo Qingshan. Everyone in the Song family put their vigilance down, and Song Ting ridiculed loudly. "Ha ha ha, isn't your contract beast only a little dog? It's really ridiculous." Seeing that it was Luo Qingshan's spirit beast, everyone in the Song family calmed their combat spirit beasts, and Song Yang and Song Ting stepped forward again. "Are you only like this? Even this contract beast is a mortal dog of mortal blood." Speaking of this, Song Ting looked at Luo Qingshan, her arrogant and domineering attitude was very clear. Although it was agreed by the ancestors, this paper marriage agreement cannot decide anything at all. Our Song family has already signed a marriage contract with Yanzong. Their saints have great talents. If you don't want it, it's okay. Even if you're here today, I am also determined to annul the marriage contract. A down-and-out dynasty of great leaders is no longer qualified to sit on an equal footing with them. Not to mention Qianwang still has this attitude. It won't be long before their Song family will sweep everything. Song Ting looked at Luo Qingshan with disdain. The next moment, he raised the wedding post in his hand, but at this moment, Wang Dao used supernatural power to directly freeze Song Ting's body. Wang Dao only felt that his whole body seemed to be severely suppressed by a mountain, and his whole body was soft. If it hadn't been supported by a bone, he would have knelt down a long time ago. Although the Song family has jumped into a dynasty, as the prince, there is no need for you to bring so many people to a woman and be aggressive there. If you are a man, you should have a better attitude. If you tore your wedding post, you will tear it up. You have to spend a lot of time coming over, and take you lousy to sing a black face and a red face. You are father and son soldiers in battle. Bring so many people here. You want to be afraid of fame and tear up the marriage contract. When I come out, Grandpa, let's see how scared you are." Wang Dao snorted coldly, and the great pressure enveloped the audience. Suddenly, the contracted beasts of the Song family fled behind their master in fright. Looking at Wang Dao, who was making his own way, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but warm up. The Song family looked down on her, so how could she look at the Song family? 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Hexi, don't bully the young and poor, sooner or later you will regret it. Wang Dao said righteously. Tear, Luo Qingshan sneered and burned the marriage contract in Song Ting's hand to pieces, with a trace of indifference on her face. She didn't agree with this marriage contract. Song Ting's face instantly turned ugly. Because Luo Qingshan's body has an endless flame momentum, just like the Supreme Queen. Seeing this power, the Song family even stepped forward to protect Song Ting. Although the contract beast beside him was timid for some reason, they also stepped forward, staring at Luo Qingshan with a pair of ferocious eyes. They felt a great danger. The owner is in trouble, they will defend it to the death. Although it is a contract beast, this is their instinct. A hint of surprise flashed across Song Ting's eyes, who was behind her guard. Luo Qingshan's power is too terrifying. Although Luo Qingshan and her little dog did not attack, this behavior seemed like a great confidence. After all, the people around him today are not weak. If there is someone nearby, the Holy Spirit beast next to him will definitely be aware of it. But there was no warning. Impossible. Today their Song family came to Luoyan Palace mightily, he must know about it, but he hasn't appeared yet. The engagement is over, but remember, it was Luo Qingshan who tore it up. Now let me go as far as I can. As the Empress, Luo Qingshan is extremely domineering. She hadn't expected this, too. She had been driven out of the Dagon dynasty at this time in her previous life. Luo Qingshan looked at the Song family indifferently, his tone was full of frost, and he also issued an order to evict them. Luo Qingshan, do you know what you are talking about? He Song Ting is the first eldest son of the great Li dynasty. They can completely understand this power as Luo Qingshan's attempted plot. But today, as a noble of the Dali dynasty, their Song family came to the Dagon dynasty. Even if there is no such marriage, he can't meet the emperor, so he has to entertain them. But the Emperor Qian didn't have any etiquette, and ordered them to go through the back door. In their eyes, it seems that Luo Qingshan did it to embarrass them on purpose. Thinking of this, Song Yang's beard exploded even more angrily, but Wang Dao on the side also said impatiently. Don't understand the words. Don't hurry up, this is the harem, do you have other ideas? It's really a bunch of bad old men, very bad. When the Song family and the others heard it, their expressions were even more ugly. This little dog was so tired of life that he utterly talked about it in front of them. Little dog, I think you are impatient. You, a small mortal-level blood contract beast, dare to be so arrogant. Song Ting pushed the crowd away. Beside him, the figure of the saint-level spirit beast Scarlet Flame Griffin suddenly rose up, sweeping out an endless aura, and the saint-level spirit beast could change its posture at will. Achieve the greatest attack stance. At this time, the red flame griffin spread its huge wings, and on the body of a half-eagle and half a cat, a pair of scarlet eyes stared at Wang Dao, full of endless killing intent. The contract beasts of the Song family members shrank into a ball when they saw the red flame griffin, their heads stuck to the ground firmly, representing surrender. This is a crush in the blood. It is also the power of the red flame griffin. Song Ting was very proud when he saw this. He looked at Luo Qingshan and said, if you kneel in front of me today and beg me for mercy, this little dog's provocation to Song Ting would have never happened to me. How? Song Ting smiled playfully. He also looked at Wang Dao on the side. Full of endless confidence, this little earthy dog is really kind, and when he saw the true body of the saint-level spirit beast, he didn't even react. But how could Wang Dao be afraid of the contract beast in front of him? He didn't even look at the beast level of the black dog great emperor, and even cheated. A holy spirit beast, it's a wool. Luo Qingshan's face sank, and the six-color divine phoenix appeared immediately. He stood in front of Luo Qingshan. His noble posture, and the pure saint-rank bloodline made Song Ting stunned. What? Holy blood? Song Ting was surprised. Didn't the Qianwang mean that she was a trash? What is the problem? However, dare to provoke him to Song Ting and look for death. Although Lu Kai Shenfeng in front of him is also a saint-level spirit beast, Luo Qingshan's own cultivation is really too weak. How can a saint-level spirit beast be used in the second-tier mid-stage? There is another one who came out to find death. Luo Qingshan, you were really generous, you were willing to send the flesh and blood of the Holy Spirit beast into the mouth of my Scarlet Flame Griffin. I don't know if my Scarlet Flame Griffin will greatly increase its power by swallowing a Holy Spirit beast, and it will directly help him break through the bottleneck period. Luo Qingshan also sneered. This Song Ting is too stupid and self-confident. Song Ting didn't put Wang Dao on the side in his eyes at all. Afterwards, as Song Ting raised his arms and shouted, the red flame griffin suddenly fluttered into the air, facing the six-color phoenix that was also a holy beast. There is no fear at all. Call out. The red flame griffin suddenly dived upwards and approached the six-color god phoenix. The strong wind mixed with fierce hostility, the griffin opened its mouth in the blood basin and tried to swallow the god phoenix in one bite. Endless smell is coming. The opponent's offensive was too fast. Luo Qingshan wanted to test the opponent's attributes, but since she didn't give her a chance, she had no choice but to respond to the changes. Although the griffin was extremely fast, the saint-level bloodline of the six-colored divine phoenix was not covered, and it evaded in an instant. Seeing that the griffin fluttered into the air, his eyes became more scarlet, and he roared to the sky, fluttered its wings again, and dived close to the six-colored phoenix. There was a bloody smell in the air, and the disgusting smell made Liu Kai Shenfang's eyes a little blurred. Song Ting saw Liu Kai Shenfang's body begin to falter, so she sneered, "Hee hee, it's over before it starts. My scarlet flame griffin can't just dive down, but his flapping wings can emit toxins that paralyze nerves." Wang Dao on the side opened the related information of the red flame griffin silently in his mind. Race: Red Flame Griffin. Bloodline: Holy Bloodline. Attack 48. Defense 33. Toxic contract beast. Although its appearance is fierce, but its main method is to release neurotoxins. Don't be fooled by its wings. You must keep a certain distance from it. The disadvantage is that it is afraid of getting close. Wings are a means of attack, but it is also it. Weakness. With a book of spirit beasts, Wang Dao knew the opponent's weakness at a glance. At this time, Liu Kai Shenfang was still dealing with the red flame griffin, but gradually, Liu Kai Shenfang felt more and more physically weak. His head was dizzy, and he was almost bitten by the griffin several times. Luo Qingshan's brows were also condensed. Liu Kai Shenfang did not have the ability to invade all kinds of poisons, it seemed. She was going to make a move too. After all, this red flame griffin is indeed very strong. But where is the attack? Pheasant. Its wings are weak. Attack his wings. Wang Dao shouted. Although Luo Qingshan on the side was very curious about how Wang Dao knew the opponent's weakness every time, she couldn't control so much at this time. A flash of red light flashed in her palm, and the next moment a red sword shot directly. The scarlet arrow fell precisely on the wings of the red flame griffin. After being hit by a sharp sword, the griffin made a scream, and the surrounding poisonous fog suddenly dissipated. While the scarlet flame griffin was breathing, the consciousness of the six-colored god phoenix gradually became clear, and at this moment, Wang Dao couldn't help it. Thinking of his kidnapped baby from the great black dog, Wang Dao sneered, "Now let's use you as a test subject." In an instant, Wang Dao took out the purgatory god stick. The god stick was about 6 feet high and 1 foot wide. The moment he took it out, endless power enveloped the audience. The griffin seemed to see something terrifying, with wings. He couldn't shake anymore. He forcibly lifted his strength, and fluttered his wings back and forth on the ground. When Song Ting saw this, her face changed drastically. As his own contract beast, he and the red flame griffin are bound together, and at this time he can really feel the fear of the red flame griffin. The griffin at this time was swallowed by fear and lost half of its combat power. And Wang Dao even more fierce eyes, a touch of hostility attacked, and the purgatory god club in his hand also hit the red flame griffin heavily at this time. "Eat my stick," Wang Dao shouted loudly. The purgatory god stick in his hand rose sharply again, and grew a few feet in vain. And in the mighty rod, there is a terrifying deterrent, which confines the space, and with the powerful force, it falls straight onto the griffin. "Stop," a familiar voice suddenly sounded, and because Wang Dao didn't control his strength well, his hand was deflected and the magic stick slammed aside. In an instant, the eyes of countless spirit beasts on the scene changed. When the god stick fell into their eyes, their minds were like being sucked into the endless abyss of hell, unable to extricate themselves. Boom! The violent sonic boom immediately smashed a large hole on the ground, and the Luoyan palace seemed to be experiencing an earthquake. The gravel and rubble tilted downward, and the huge smoke covered the Song family. When the dust and smoke dissipated, a huge hole suddenly appeared on the ground of Luoyan Palace, looking down into pitch black. Wang Dao looked silly. Not only that, Liu Kai Shenfang and Luo Qingshan both showed surprised expressions. This is the power of the purgatory god stick. Just flick it so lightly, and smash a hole directly. So scary. No wonder the black dog is so confident that he can change his fate with this. It turned out to be so strong. Wang Dao swallowed. Only then did he see the Emperor Qian on the side. Unexpectedly, "You will appear again," Luo Qingshan shouted, trying to shoot the arrow in his palm at Qianwang again. For her, the catastrophe she has suffered now is the result of the Emperor, and his sudden appearance now is definitely not for herself, but to save Song Ting and the others. Today's matter is also promoted by him as the Emperor. He looked at himself being humiliated. Her good father. Emperor Qian was also stunned by the huge power, but he still recovered his calm expression and quickly helped Song Ting who had fallen on the ground up. "Prince Song, are you okay?" At this time, Song Ting's clothes were incomplete, her head was covered with gravel, and she looked unkempt and looked like a prince. Wang Dao hurriedly made up his knife. Shit prince, a fool. Wang Dao really disdains him. Although the stick was smashed away, Song Ting and his spirit beasts were affected by the aftershocks. Fortunately, Song Ting had a bone guard and was not facing the attack, so it was only injured, but the red flame griffin was not so lucky. Up. Well, next to the black hole, the griffin was lying on the ground dying, dripping with blood, and a blood hole was smashed into the abdomen by the gravel, and it fell to the ground, only the weak breathing proved it. Still alive, Song Ting got up and saw the griffin with bruises in front of her, gritted her teeth, and said, "You dare to hurt my spirit beast, you Luo Qingshan is not dead, I will not give up when I leave the dynasty." Emperor Qian also found it incredible, if he hadn't been hiding in the dark all the time, or he would never believe that Song Ting and his spirit beasts would be beaten into such a miserable situation. And the reason why he hid in the dark was that he wanted to borrow the hand of Dali dynasty to ask Song Ting to use a marriage contract to humiliate Luo Qingshan. But now it seems that if he hadn't appeared in time, Song Ting and his spirit beast would have long ceased to exist. I also know a little bit about the resignation of the great Li dynasty. I didn't entertain me well today. Some unpleasant things happened. Let me handle this matter, right? Although Emperor Qian was showing good wishes to them, it was absolutely impossible that he could play against them with just one sentence. Song Ting looked at Emperor Qian with angrily, and said angrily, "If it wasn't for good luck today, if this stick is smashed on my spirit beast, do you think it can survive?" Song Yang also took a deep breath. The white beard was already covered by dust, and it looked like a coal digger. "Emperor Qian, you are the monarch of a dynasty, today's affairs must give us an explanation for the dynasty of Dali." If it had been 3 years ago, they would have not dared to speak to Emperor Qian in this tone, but now, under the blessing of Goddess, they would naturally have the capital to confront Emperor Qian. The Emperor Qian made a ha-ha, very kind to persuade. "For today's matter, I will definitely let the little girl go to the Dali dynasty to give an explanation. At that time, I also hope that the Dali dynasty can forgive my Dagon dynasty. I will definitely give you an explanation on this matter. Although they are favored by the goddess, they are now in someone else's territory. If they are still at war and regard him as an emperor, I am afraid they will be wiped out here." Thinking of this, Song Ting and the others could only swallow their anger and leave, and the griffin had already lost its combat ability, so it was naturally carried back by a few celebrities. Seeing everyone's backs gradually drifting away, when Qian Huang turned back, Luo Qingshan put an arrow on Qian Huang's head. "Are you hiding something about Elder Kai Yan? You asked Elder Kai Yan to send someone to the killer." Faced with Luo Qingshan's questioning, Emperor Qian did not explain. But Emperor Qian knew that Elder Kai Yan's people could not erase Luo Qingshan, it must have something to do with the little dog beside her, and Wang Dao had already taken the Purgatory God stick back at this time. This kind of murder weapon, after seeing its power, is still used as a hole card, and if you hit another stick, the Luoyan Palace is gone. What are you hiding from me? Why do you have to die? What makes Luo Qingshan do not understand is why Qianwang ordered her to be killed again and again, and what is in it. She Luo Qingshan is not her daughter's mother. Facing Luo Qingshan's question, Qianwang only gave one answer. Your existence is a complete threat to me. My Dagon dynasty is in the prosperous world, but your character is completely out of my control, so I can't let you live. I have already planned for the king of a country in the Dagon dynasty. In the future, the Euphorbia dynasty will be entrusted to your sister Luo Qingmang. Hearing this answer, Luo Qingshan's expression sank. After that, a breath of terror suddenly struck, and a strange rustling sound suddenly came from the floor. Behind Qianwang, a golden python suddenly appeared. The python spit out the letter, and the scarlet pupils made people shudder. This is Qianwang's contract beast, the three-clawed golden python, and now he is summoned with only one purpose. That is to erase Luo Qingshan here, even if it has been criticized. Three-clawed golden python, Qianwang shouted, and the golden python also felt the master's call. Then the body of the three-clawed golden python suddenly grew larger, and the three claws poured out like steel moved forward. When they moved, the iron claws made a harsh rubbing sound. Liu Kai Shenfeng was clearly aware of the crisis, but had just recovered from the toxin of the red flame griffin. Before it stood up, the golden python in front of him quickly swam in front of him. As the king of a country, Qianwang's contract beast is naturally very powerful. And the cultivation base is the third stage, late stage. The eyes of the three-clawed golden python were full of murderous aura. Although the body was huge, it moved very fast. This was the first time Luo Qingshan had seen such a huge contract beast with extremely fast moving speed. Not good, Liu Kai Shenfeng hurriedly shouted. At the close of the hair, fortunately, Wang Dao reacted quickly. He thought of the unused baby. God of good fortune. The incomplete exercises taken from the Great Black Dog had already undergone system upgrades and evolved into gods of good fortune, and the system helped himself to practice on the machine. At this time, Wang Dao had almost practiced the exercises. This technique is also extremely powerful. When restraining Song Ting, he used this technique. Luo Qingshan felt an unspeakable power surging from her body, and saw a flash of divine consciousness flashing in her mind. Countless profound meanings poured in, and the body of the Emperor Qian was suddenly thrown up. But the three-clawed golden python had even more domineering power, which directly broke free of the seals laid by the gods. But his eyes are also filled with fear. Seeing that the master was in trouble, the three-clawed golden python immediately turned around, and under its huge body, it easily tore the seal to pieces. Emperor Qian Huang fell on the three-clawed golden python, and his expression was terrified. Just now, the ghost almost gave him a second. At the same time, he read the mantra and urged the three-clawed golden python to launch a counterattack. Purgatory Demon Eye. Suddenly, in the scarlet eyes of the three-clawed golden python, a strong ray suddenly appeared, like the fire of hell. This was the unique skill of the three-clawed golden python. The eyes of the three-clawed golden python will emit rays that melt everything in the world, and no grass will grow wherever it goes. Suddenly there was a sizzling sound in the air, red rays shot out from the pupils of the three-clawed golden python, falling in the rain palace. The red shot towards the domineering and cutting any obstructed objects in half, and he turned straight towards Luo Qingshan. In the direction of the move. Seeing that Emperor Qian used the ultimate move from the beginning, Wang Dao hurriedly closed his eyes, muttering the formula. For the first time using the God of Good Fortune, Luo Qingshan was still a little rusty, and the performance of the God of Good Fortune was very unstable, but with the support of Wang Dao, this stabilized Luo Qingshan's consciousness. The ray that can penetrate everything suddenly stopped when Luo Qingshan was a step away, as if an invisible force was blocking it. Afterwards, the Emperor Qian and his contract beast were kneaded together by a large net. And that power entangled them, and then the power gradually increased. God of Good Fortune. Desperate. In the end, after reciting the tactics, countless runes and mana poured out. The expression of Qianwang in front of him became more and more ugly, and the iron claws of the three-clawed golden python were shattered by this force. The python whimpered, and the red rays gradually disappeared. Snapped. A pool of blood fell from the air, and the Emperor Qian and his contract beast disappeared, disappearing into this world. Emperor Qian, dead. Luo Qingshan's eyes were sad, but she gradually became indifferent. As a result, she was mentally prepared. She doesn't have much affection with Qianwang either. Wang Dao's body is weak. Today, his consumption is too great. The Luoyan palace was in a mess, as if a catastrophe had happened here, causing a sensation in the palace. The shadow is also extremely shocked. Luo Qingshan, even the Emperor Qian was wiped out, and then the female emperor of the Great Qian dynasty would be Luo Qingshan. No doubt, at sunset, the setting sun is like blood. After the Emperor Qian was wiped out, countless guards in the palace poured into the vicinity of Luoyan Palace. When they saw the Luoyan Palace at this time, they were stunned. The Luoyan Palace at this moment was completely unrecognizable, like a ruin, with several large holes in the eaves, and the dim yellow sunset was shining a bright light on the falling clouds. In front of the palace gate, Luo Qingshan's body. The ruin-like scenery, but Luo Qingshan, who is extremely arrogant, like a female emperor. Today, I will be the female emperor of the Dagon dynasty, and I will command you and let Dagon prosper. The words of awe-inspiring expression were completely beyond the reach of a weak woman. Yi Tian was the first to arrive, and he was also extremely shocked. In Luo Qingshan's body, the female emperor's aura made the guards in the palace weaken their legs and kneeled in front of Luo Qingshan one by one. Meet the Empress. Yi Tian led Tai Shanwei and shouted first. In an instant, the deafening sound resounded throughout the Dagon Palace. The Empress is mighty. Today, Luo Qingshan ascended the throne to become the new female emperor of the Dagon dynasty, and this is also the century of the Dagon dynasty. A daughter can step on the dragon chair and become the female emperor of hundreds of millions of people. And, very smoothly, in the early morning, the blazing sun rose slowly to the east of the Dagon dynasty, and the bursts of golden light from the sun fell straight in the deepest part of the Dagon dynasty. The fiery red sun gradually dyed the eastern sky red, and the towering main peak of Wangshen Mountain was even more blood red. Such a different world made the people of the Dagon dynasty more consciously surrender. They headed for the Dagon and bowed their heads. Wang Dao, on the other hand, was lying on the dragon chair of the dynasty, and fell asleep. After several days of recuperation, he slowly recovered his vitality. At the same time, he lay here every day to sign into practice, and someone offered it, turning his belly up and basking in the sun all day. Outside, it was the enthronement ceremony. Luo Qingshan sits on a fiery red female emperor's phoenix robe with butterfly wings, which is embroidered with gilt gold lines. On that fairy-like jade face, a pair of spiritual pupils are like water, and the cold expression is just a swipe away. The eunuchs underneath all bowed their heads and dared not look directly. The new emperor ascended to the throne, and he was doing his best. After Luo Qingshan walked into the dynasty, the bells and drums rang 3 times, which meant that the ceremony of enthronement had begun. Today, I am the new female emperor of the Dagon dynasty. When the words fell, the civil and military officials in the Dagon dynasty kowtowed together. As their dignity, they must follow the guidance of the female emperor. The Dagon dynasty will be ridden by her alone, Luo Qingshan. When he walked into the golden dragon chair, a sudden snoring sound made Luo Qingshan's expression a little surprised. After a closer look, he discovered that Wang Dao was turning his belly and lying on the dragon chair in a very arrogant posture. Wang Dao, you can just sleep to death. Luo Qingshan lowered her voice and broke the power in an instant. However, Luo Qingshan knew that without Wang Dao, she wouldn't be able to become the Empress so smoothly. This contract beast is just too lazy and a waste of talent. After spending so long with Wang Dao, her patience was getting better and better. Although she was a little angry, there was no expression on her face. Got used to. What are you eating today? Are you still braised pig's knuckles? Wang Dao rubbed his sleepy eyes, then sat on the dragon chair, letting go of a stinky fart, and then he jumped out of the dragon chair contentedly. Come down. Luo Qingshan's mouth suddenly twitched, and he stopped sitting on this dragon chair. At this time, the sound of the system sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the 3-day dragon chair sign-in task. This time the sign-in reward, the Golden Fetus Palace. When practicing in the Dagon dynasty, you will be protected by the Dagon dynasty, and the cultivation speed will increase tenfold. As long as you practice in the Dagon dynasty, your practice speed will increase tenfold. Not only can you practice on hook, but you can also multiply the practice speed by 10 times. This system is all about making yourself a lazy but powerful piece of waste. Good. This can be practiced lying down, he likes it. At that time, when Teodi appears, I am afraid that the sun and the moon can swallow it. At this moment, a flash of red light appeared in Luo Qingshan's body. She and Wang Dao shared a talent, so she could also perceive Wang Dao when she obtained the Golden Fetus Palace. In an instant, Luo Qingshan felt that the blood in his body began to flow faster, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth poured into his body one after another, opening up the whole body from top to bottom. What happened? For an instant, Luo Qingshan felt a few strains on his body, and was immediately dissipated by Zhen Qi, making his whole body much easier. Luo Qingshan couldn't help but looked at Wang Dao suspiciously. Could it be possible that you have gained another powerful technique this time? This Wang Dao eats or sleeps every day, and when it comes in handy occasionally, it ends within less than 5 seconds of his appearance. Luo Qingshan once suspected that the reason why Wang Dao sleeps every day is because his bones are too weak and he needs to rest. But what's the matter with this exercise? Did you break through again and again? The enthronement ceremony lasted for more than a long time. The civil and military officials and the eunuchs also bowed their heads and bowed for more than a long time. Although the burning sun burned their skin, they did not dare to get up without Luo Qingshan's order. After Wang Dao ate and drank enough, he wandered deep in the palace, and the system kept reminding him before he walked into a place. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in at the harem of Dagon and getting a beauty pill. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in at the temple hall and getting a Zujiden. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in at Zhongling Mansion and getting a Yujiden. The rewards obtained from these sign-ins are not painful or itchy, but they are gadgets with little effect, and Wang Dao is not interested. However, this is better than nothing, and it may come in handy in the future, simply by including all the pills. Today ascended to the throne, Luo Qingshan would naturally be on the dragon chair to look through the envelope, which recorded all the matters of Emperor Qian Huang's rectification over the years. As the Empress, Luo Qingshan knew that if he wanted to grow this dynasty, he had to start from the inside. Only if the foundation of the dynasty is strong enough, they can expand to the outside world. But before that, Luo Qingshan thought of her sister, Luo Meng. Although Emperor Qian had been wiped out by her, Luo Meng was still there, which was also a disaster for her. She still remembers the hatred in the previous life. Then she ordered the shadow who worked for her to pick Luo Meng's top head in front of her, and within an hour, a bloody head was placed in front of her. There was no expression on Luo Qingshan's cold face. To her, she had no feelings with Luo Meng, and this was just the first step after she became the throne. Next, Luo Qingshan amnesty the guilty and release all the guilty, but the condition is that these guilty people will be secretly trained to become a death squad of the dynasty and use credit in exchange for freedom. These wicked people were about to die in prison. Although they were pardoned this time, they also knew that one day they would eventually die on the battlefield. Freedom is too difficult, but compared to dying alone in prison, although the effectiveness is dangerous, it is also a lot more comfortable. These guys are all bloody beast masters. A few days later, when Luo Qingshan saw the death squads gritted their teeth for training, she was somewhat admired. The next step is to consolidate the hearts of the people. When Emperor Qianlong was alive, he squeezed the people and caused countless grassroots to die in famine. Luo Qingshan subsidized the people, built granaries, and repaired bridges. When the Empress of this generation became the throne, she was also loved by the people. And opened the Royal Beast Tower, so that more civilians have the opportunity to become a beast master. Chapter 71. Luo Qingshan originally planned to completely rectify the Dagon dynasty in a few months. However, several amnesties issued before and after have brought her plan to an end early. Looking at Guotai Mingan's dynasty, Luo Qingshan snorted coldly. The indifferent eyes looked into the distance, and the figure of Emperor Qian appeared in her mind. A bit heavy inside. I won the throne for a few days, so I will abolish all your laws. How can I be incapable? Why do you have to kill me? You have never waited to see me since I was young, but why do you want to kill me? Any other reasons? Luo Qingshan frowned. Abolishing all the laws and decrees that were made when Emperor Qian was alive, Luo Qingshan also made a major innovation in the system of officials of the Emperor Qian dynasty. Now all ordinary people have the opportunity to set foot in the palace of the Dagon dynasty. As long as you are talented, after a round of examinations, you have the opportunity to become an official of the dynasty or even become a beastmaster. After this decree was promulgated, it shocked many officials in the dynasty. After all, they relied on the relationship of their elders to enter the dynasty and become the precious beast masters. Originally seeking a job, acting as a domineering blessing in the dynasty, bullying the people by his own identity, but when Luo Qingshan came up, these people abolished the position, which can be described as slashing the mess. But was shocked by Luo Qingshan's methods, no one dared to move. After the moths and the dynasty were eliminated one by one, this move shocked the entire Dagon dynasty. All dynasty officials, you beast master, are now acting carefully, not daring to offend Luo Qingshan. During this period, Luo Qingshan was very busy in ruling the dynasty, and Wang Dao's life was quite moist. Ever since he took the 2 treasures of Emperor Black Dog abducted in Dagon Forbidden Land, Wang Dao has taken out the God of Purgatory sticks from time to time and studied them. He was still holding this purgatory stick when he slept, its power is so powerful. Even if Luo Qingshan walked to Wang Dao's side, he would have to guard the magic stick. Seeing Wang Dao's cherished appearance, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but complain. This is not a bone. Even if you heat him up, you still can't eat it. Although Luo Qingshan is now a great female emperor, Wang Dao still argues. What do you know? This purgatory god stick is the treasure of the Black Dog Great Emperor, and this Black Dog Great Emperor is a mythical beast. If his life spirit treasure is smashed into this palace, the palace will be broken into pieces. Luo Qingshan broke the defense. She was a female emperor in her previous life, so she actually asked what she knew. As his contract beast, Wang Dao was so excessive and arrogant, Luo Qingshan looked at Wang Dao with a beautiful face, and said viciously. Wang Dao, I have to take your skin off today. Wang Dao even drove off directly, and disappeared after throwing away his dog's legs. Luo Qingshan couldn't catch up, so she said loudly. Wang Dao, see if you can sleep in the dragon chair tonight. At night, Wang Dao stood at the back door of Dogandian Hall, using a stone pier, lightly exerting force on his dog's legs, and then jumped into the dynasty. Thinking of Luo Qingshan's warning, Wang Dao regretted it. After all, Luo Qingshan is now a female emperor. She was a storm in the Dagon dynasty. A group of eunuchs and Etn followed her, and the Dagon dynasty had her final say. I can't do it myself. Came to the depths of the dynasty in a smoke, and as expected, the gate of Dogandian had been locked. He pushed the gate slightly, and there was a heavy noise inside. What's so special? The 3 inner and outer layers are all locked up. Sure enough, the most unprovoked creature is a woman. However, Wang Dao is not too difficult for this matter. He is a dog and his climbing ability is amazing. With the help of 4 claws, he can directly climb to the eaves. Uncovering a few tiles, he got in, and fell on the dragon chair with a thud. Looking around, Luo Qingshan was not there, and it seemed that she would have gone back to rest long ago. In this way, no one will bother you to sleep. Tonight, Sister Chang'e, I'll come. Wang Dao stretched out the dog's paw, took out the purgatory god stick, began to warm up, put it under his dog's head, and fell asleep. As for the call of the great black dog, it was selectively blocked. Emperor Black Dog, why is there no movement? Ding! Congratulations to the host for staying in the Dagon dynasty for 3 consecutive days. He has obtained the Golden Bell Van level artifact, upgradable that can withstand the attacks of Tier 3 and above spirit beasts, and will launch a rebound attack on the intruder. Seeing this, Wang Dao was overjoyed. This one doesn't go out of the house, it's cool to just lie down and practice, and now I still give myself some spirit treasures to play with. Cool. Suddenly, Wang Dao's whole body was full of true energy. He closed his eyes, and in an instant, his whole body was like a huge iron bell, firmly surrounded. Thick and invincible. Thinking of the effects of this baby, Wang Dao couldn't help laughing. Now, who is going to bother me to sleep? Don't I sleep for 3 or 5 days in a row? Anyway, Luo Qingshan came to him because he was sensitive, and if other people attacked, it would be death. The golden giant clock immediately wrapped Wang Dao's body, and soon, Wang Dao's loud snoring sound came from the clock. Late at night, a group of assassins wearing black long clothes suddenly broke in from the imperial dynasty. Seeing that the great hall of the Lord was locked tightly, they used Wang Dao's method to enter from the roof. Several assassins were well trained, fixed the long rope, and then slipped down one by one. On their chests, a black skull logo was inlaid. This is the hallmark of the Dark Temple. At this time, Wang Dao didn't notice that outsiders broke in the dynasty. At this time, he was asleep, his body was automatically practicing. Hurry up and set up the trap. The news of Luo Qingshan's death tomorrow morning will resound through the entire team. The general led coldly. Yes, this is the assassin sent by the Dark Temple. The news that Elder Kai Yan was killed has spread in several dynasties, and the Dark Temples distributed in each dynasty received the same order. The murderer who killed the Elder Kai Yan, Luo Qingshan beheaded. Luo Qingshan killed Qianwang. These methods directly exposed himself. As an advanced soldier, this Scarlet team was arranged to enter the dynasty first, and their task tonight is to arrange institutions in the dynasty. When Luo Qingshan, the female emperor of the Dagon dynasty tomorrow, sits in the dragon chair, the hidden weapon will be triggered. The hidden weapons are covered with the poison of the poison-type contract beasts, but just in case, they need to arrange more sophisticated organs. These cold-blooded killers scattered in the dynasty one by one, and began to prepare for arrangement. At this time, several assassins noticed a strange big clock on the dragon chair, and an assassin hurriedly reported to the leader. The leader narrowed his eyes slightly, and he was suspicious when he noticed the light spots on the dragon chair, but when they calmed down, the dragon chair suddenly snored. This is a mortal beast. The leader was a little surprised. When exploring with the divine sense, he was a little puzzled after learning the news. What is a mortal beast doing on the dragon chair? And if you heard it right, this is snoring, right? This is so special, it's really a weird beast. Come here, kill this spirit beast for me. With an order, several assassins walked up, full of murderous aura, but just as they were approaching the dragon chair, golden runes emerged one by one around Wang Dao, and the golden light was accompanied by several sharp swords. Suddenly, several killers screamed, and the next moment they fell in a pool of blood and were killed on the spot. Several sharp swords shot from the big clock directly assassinated several people beside the leader. The contract beast next to the leader of the Dark Temple immediately blocked him, a black panther with fangs exposed, gloomy and dark all over, looking at the golden clock in front of him vigilantly. Many assassins looked at the power emanating from this big clock, and they were even scared and motionless. Shocked, was killed before getting close. As the assassins of the Dark Temple, they killed countless people, and today a contract beast of mortal blood can exude such a powerful lethality, it is the first time they have seen it. This mortal beast is so powerful. If you surrender him and do things for me, wouldn't it be even more powerful? The leader's face showed an expression of excitement. He squinted, his eyes closed slightly. Come here, wake me up this spirit beast. I want to tame him into my contract beast. It's a taboo to snatch someone else's spirit beast, but as the killer of the Dark Temple, these naturally can't restrain him. At this time, an assassin whispered, Boss, this little dog is like Luo Qingshan's spirit beast. It can enter the depths of Dagon. It must be hers on this dragon chair. After learning about Wang Dao's master, the leader said even more excitedly. It's God who helped me. Luo Qingshan is also a dying person, not to mention how can a second-order late-stage waste match such a favorite? Quickly wake it up. The chief looked at the big golden clock in front of him. Under that big clock, a small dog covered in brown was sleeping there. Motivated by Teoti's blood, the true energy in Wang Dao's body is surging infinitely. Multiplying cultivation by 10 times, every meridian in his body exudes a noble and powerful purple light, and terrifying power is constantly bred in it. Brother go, wake up. An assassin cautiously got out of his contract beast and whispered. The air seemed to be quiet, and everyone in the advance team looked at the golden bell in front of them with bated breath. But after a long time, the spirit beast under the golden bell did not respond. Puff. Wang Dao let out a stinky fart comfortably, turned over and continued to sleep soundly. It smells. This strange noise made the assassins hide behind the spirit beasts as if they were frightened by holding their noses. Having seen the power of Admiralty, they don't want to die in vain now. They are here to kill, not to die. I don't believe it. At this time, an irritable assassin didn't believe in evil, so he took the sharp knife in his hand and rushed over. He fiercely inserted the sharp knife into the golden bell, but the runes on the golden bell appeared again in the next second, and the powerful force of countless golden runes broke out in an instant, and the sharp knife melted directly with a bang. Turned into a pool of molten iron. The whole body of the executioner was completely unrecognizable in an instant, and he was about to scream, but he didn't even scream, and was instantly burned to ashes. The horror of Admiralty once again frightened the assassins. The assassination leader was also stunned. Wang Dao didn't even know what happened when he was asleep. Instead, he rolled over. Deep in Dagon, inside the palace. Having seen the power of Admiralty, the leader did not fear at all at this time, on the contrary he was very excited. It seems that the power of this golden bell is even more powerful than I thought. Now he is even more convinced that only he can tame this class of spirit beasts and let him exert the strongest power. The first few are just too weak. The leader couldn't help but patted the panther beside him. He believes that only he can subdue this spirit beast. Wake up, surrender to me. The leader's voice was amplified a bit. There was no answer, but there was still a snoring sound in Admiralty. We must know that there are countless powerful dark temples, and to be the leader of this advanced team, there must be a certain prestige in the temple within a world. Wang Dao's ignorance made his eyes cold. However, he also knew that this spirit beast was extraordinary, so he had to suppress his temper and gently stretched out his hands towards the golden bell, wanting to wake up the spirit beast. But all his spiritual power is attached to this handwriting. But the next second, when this hand touched Jin Zhang, a strange feeling immediately spread throughout the leader. The next moment, the real fire of samadhi directly pierced his hand, and at the same time, the fire eroded the entire arm of the leader, and it was still spreading upward. Leader, be careful. Upon seeing this, a group of assassins hurriedly escorted the leader behind, but at this moment, the leader's body suddenly exploded, and the real fire of samadhi spread to everyone around him. Call. The fire was extremely fierce and directly eroded everyone. They didn't even know how they died, and they burned to ashes in an instant. There are no traces of existence. Wang Dao had no knowledge of what happened in the palace. He has slept very comfortably these days. In the next few days, Luo Qingshan handled major affairs of the court, stabilized the courtiers, and went down to investigate the living conditions of the people. And whether the policy was implemented. In her previous life, when she was the Empress, there were many officials who violated the yin and yang. This is also a point of helplessness. Where there are people, there is exploitation. For her, the real female emperor is not sitting in the dynasty every day, the eyes will be blinded in the dynasty. Only when we go down will we know what the people are like. She Luo Qingshan wants to turn this Dagon dynasty into an immortal dynasty. In her previous life, it was too difficult for her to be alone. This time, with the Dagon dynasty as the foundation, her cultivation speed will definitely be faster. After rebirth, Luo Qingshan would never allow her to become the venerable divine beast at a slower speed than in the previous life. Never allowed. 3 days later, Wang Dao woke up from his sleep. He stretched his waist vigorously, his whole body was completely opened up, and the full body gathered in his body. At this moment, his body was very soft. He felt that he was not too far away from the third-order spirit beast. And on the surface of the golden bell, some mysterious runes appeared, which seemed to be stronger. Through induction, Wang Dao knew that his own strength could also increase the golden bell's cultivation. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a chaos pill, which can be upgraded to the golden bell. Wang Dao looked excited. This golden bell can not only strengthen one's Dao bones, but also speed up cultivation. Now that he is practicing in the palace, he has not only multiplied 10 times, but with this golden bell, he can speed up his practice 20 times. At this rate, let yourself sleep for 100 years, and when you wake up, you will be truly invincible in the world. What a catastrophe, it can be destroyed by turning the palm of your hand. At that time, I am afraid that Luo Qingshan will be stupid. 3 days passed so fast, it's time to go out and wander around. Wang Dao said to himself. Jumping off the dragon chair, Wang Dao noticed a spot of ashes beside the dragon chair. There was still a strange smell in the air, which puzzled Wang Dao. Could it be that Luo Qingshan thought he had burped during the days when he slept in the dragon chair, so he burned paper to see him off? It must be right. This look is Luo Qingshan's revenge. Vicious woman, take him down sooner or later. After sleeping for 3 days, he naturally had to eat. Wang Dao now has a special cook who killed another pig from the pigpen and roasted it at a high temperature. Then a suckling pig was served in front of Wang Dao. I took a bite and the juice splashed all over. The meat is fatty but not greasy, and the skin is roasted exceptionally crisp. A batch of incense. Dagon dynasty, within the dynasty. HMPH, I know that the Dark Temple will not let go, but all this is the blessing of the Emperor. The main hall where Wang Dao left, Luo Qingshan sat there with a slender body, her crystal eyes were chilly, she looked down at the shadow kneeling in front of her. In the Dark Temple, after killing the Elder Kai Yan and then killing the Emperor Qian, Luo Qingshan knew that she would definitely be noticed by the Dark Temple. However, Luo Qingshan was not worried. It was absolutely necessary to expand his territory, let the Dagon dynasty prosper, and obliterate the power of the Dark Temple. According to the Wire report, the Dark Temple has sent advance troops a few days ago to assassinate His Royal Highness Qingzan. A sneer suddenly appeared on Luo Qingshan's face. Dare to come directly to my Dagon dynasty to assassinate me, what a group of brave guys. Since it's here, don't leave. As soon as the conversation turned, Luo Qingshan's eyes suddenly appeared cold, and she immediately gave the order to summon the generals to prepare for a thorough investigation of the entire dynasty. The Shadow's news is absolutely true. In this case, those assassins must have been lying in ambush somewhere in the dark place of the Dagon dynasty when they saw that they had not returned. At this time, Luo Qingshan noticed that there was a layer of ashes on the ground, and the Shadow immediately stepped forward and looked at the ashes on the ground, with some doubts. Why, did you find anything? Luo Qingshan asked. No, it's just that the origin of this ash is unknown and shouldn't be here. Except for Master Wang Dao, no one in this dynasty dared to come in. Moreover, this hall was neat and tidy a few days ago. Shadow shook his head and couldn't figure it out, but Luo Qingshan thought in his heart, Wang Dao's dog must be lazy every day if he is absent these few days, maybe he did the ashes. Clean up here now. Luo Qingshan got up, ready to go outside to get some air. In the past few days, as a female emperor, she has rectified everything in the dynasty. Fortunately, as a female emperor in her previous life, she would definitely not be able to withstand these pressures. But fortunately, the harvest was quite fruitful, and Dagon was stable up and down. Yi Tian also went to guard the border, took his exercises, and now the entire Dagon's resources belong to her Luo Qingshan. This catastrophe will never happen. Absolute. Once again, countless cold lights appeared in Luo Qingshan's eyes, looking at Dagon's territory. In the past few days, within the Dagon dynasty, the officers and soldiers, the Beast Division, and the whole army attacked, but after a lot of searches, no trace of the killer was found. After Shadow reported the investigation results to Luo Qingshan was also confused. It shouldn't be. With the style of revenge in the Dark Temple, they can't give up. At the same time, the Shadow also told Luo Qingshan an explosive news. According to the Wire report, the advance troops sent by the Dark Temple have not returned in the past few days, and several elders in the temple have also launched an investigation on this. The advance troops sent out strangely disappear. Is it possible to say that they have been obliterated? This made Luo Qingshan think of Wang Dao subconsciously, but she immediately dispelled the idea. But besides Wang Dao, who else would help her? Still not telling her. At this time, Luo Qingshan thought of the layer of dust that he saw on the ground a few days ago. Is it possible? Are these people really killed by Wang Dao? But why didn't Wang Dao tell her? After thinking about it, Luo Qingshan felt a headache. Great Li Dynasty. Song Ting was tumbling with the court lady, and after some tossing, when Song Ting got up, his subordinates informed the goddess that she was here. When she heard that she was a goddess, Song Ting was so frightened that she quickly put on her clothes. After all, behind the goddess is the power of dark temples in several dynasties. An intricate force spread across the entire Holy Spirit realm. He was the prince of the dynasty, and was not her opponent. This can't let her know. Not long after, the goddess walked into the mansion with a cold temperament. When she saw Song Ting, she said, "A few days ago, I heard that you went to the Dagon dynasty and divorced the current female emperor, Luo Qingshan." Song Ting nodded as soon as he heard Luo Qingshan. At that time, Luo Qingshan was not the king of a dynasty. But Luo Qingshan is very arrogant, and my griffin was also badly injured. The goddess's face was frosty, and she looked at Song Ting mockingly with a pair of exquisite eyes. Don't look down on Luo Qingshan, this woman is really not easy. The advance team sent by the Dark Temple was strangely missing, which made them believe that these assassins had been ordered to be executed by Luo Qingshan. This woman is ruthless enough, and she doesn't fear their Dark Temple. Song Ting was indignant. He looked at the woman in front of him. If it weren't for expanding the power of the Great Li Dynasty, he would never marry the Dark Goddess. He still remembered that when she slept with the goddess a few days ago, her contract beast came out, and the covered scaly scales were touching his skin, and a chill came immediately. That is her contract beast, the terrifying green-tailed snake. Snake-like spirit beast of holy blood. The cold triangular eyes looked at him like that, as if they were prey. Song Ting had a nightmare that night. He dreamed of his body being enjoyed by the goddess and her contract beast. This made him terrified. These few days you will gather the generals of your great Li dynasty. In a short while, we will overthrow the Dagon dynasty and raze to the ground. The words of the goddess were cold, and the eyes that looked at Song Ting were inexplicably cold. At this time, a green-tailed snake with patterns all over her body was even wrapped around her arm. And the snake was spitting out the letter, staring at Song Ting firmly. Song Ting's feet were a little bit weak, but when he heard that the Dagon dynasty was about to be destroyed, he was a little excited. Really? Is the Dark Temple planning to destroy the Dagon dynasty this time? The goddess nodded. The Dagon dynasty is disrespectful to my Dark Temple. The Dagon dynasty is now in the window period. At this time, leading troops to expedition, the Dagon dynasty will instantly become the Shira field. For them, the destruction of the Dagon dynasty is just around the corner. There is not much time left for Luo Qingshan. At this time, Chaotang. The hundreds of civil and military officials in the court bowed to the ground in horror. Luo Qingshan clenched her silver teeth, angrily reprimanding the civil and military officials in front of her. Dagon now is not the old one. Civil officials suggest that if it is good or bad, I will listen. Have you listened to this? It's nice to ignore my existence and give orders at will. Yesterday, a civil official in the imperial court was directly beheaded by the Beastmaster when he uttered some dissatisfaction with Luo Qingshan because he uttered a lot of words after drinking. Moreover, this civil official is a person from the dynasty, and the killing at this time is obviously driven by a person with a heart. This may be the fuse. In the few days that Luo Qingshan became the throne, many government decrees issued by Emperor Dao Qian were abolished by her. The vigorous and resolute style made the civil and military officials admire again and again. But today, some people dared to violate their orders and use their powers without authorization to get the Beastmaster to wipe out the important officials of the court. This incident is very bad. Immediately, Luo Qingshan ordered the shadow to find the man behind it. Soon, the shadow walked into the dynasty with a Beastmaster. Luo Qingshan's eyes suddenly condensed, and a sharp look appeared in his eyes. Do you know about the killing of civilian officials? The Beastmaster was trembling with fright, but his contract beast raised his head rebelliously at this moment, with no attitude of admitting his mistakes. Naughty animal. Seeing this, Luo Qingshan stretched out a hand, palm facing the opponent's contract beast. In the next moment, a group of true phoenix fire that eroded all things instantly rushed towards this contracted beast of mortal bloodline. Before he could resist, it turned into a layer of black ash, and the smell of barbecue was permeated in the air. Ahu! The Beastmaster was frightened for a while, and his whole body was almost lying on the ground. The Empress, I beg you to forgive me, I don't dare anymore, all these are people who are far from the dynasty, forcing me to do this. Sure enough, there is something strange about this. Luo Qingshan squinted her eyes and asked, call in all the facts quickly. Soon, he told Luo Qingshan the causes and consequences of this incident, and learned that the people of the Great Li dynasty were behind this incident, and Luo Qingshan's frosty face was a little more worried. After she ascended the throne, the Dagon dynasty would inevitably set off a terrible storm. A few days ago, several lost grounds were taken back, which also consumed a lot of second-rank beastmasters. This time, it seems that the Great Li dynasty has already declared war on them. Shadow, how many troops do we have now? Luo Qingshan looked at the shadow on the side. The shadow knelt on his hand, and said, the Emperor, there are more than 100 second-order beastmasters, and the first-order beastmasters are estimated to be more than 5,000 or 6,000. Too little. Luo Qingshan frowned and looked at the hundreds of civil and military officials who bowed their heads to him. Several emperors are alive, and they will never have this strength. But after Luo Qingshan came to power, he immediately overturned the decree established by Emperor Qian, which caused the power of the sect to be very strong, and Luo Qingshan was dissatisfied with her. Because she touched their interests. Luo Qingshan's eyes suddenly revealed a touch of determination that he had never had before. From today, all Tier 2 Beastmasters of my Dagon dynasty must take back all the power of the sect. If they refuse to surrender, they will not hesitate to take all their strength. The name of the sect can be left, but the systems in each sect must follow the rules of my Dagon dynasty. As soon as these words came out, the civil and military officials who were kneeling on the ground showed expressions of astonishment. But think about it. Dogon is now lacking in troops and land, and now there is a threat of leaving the dynasty. And this first step is to bring back the sect. The Dali dynasty is now married to the goddess. Behind the goddess is the Dark Temple, this huge and intricate force. If they join hands and use their current forces, they will be completely defeated. They are too short of the combat power of the advanced beast masters. She didn't want it, she just watched Dogon collapse. After ascending to the throne, she made up her mind even more to show off her majesty as a female emperor in this world. It is not easy to return to the sect. Dynasty and Zongmin, like well water and river water, have existed since ancient times, but they did not interfere with each other. The Emperor Qian also relied on the binding of interests to let the Zongmin exert their strength. For thousands of years, their well water has not violated the river water. But now, Luo Qingshan suddenly told the court officials that they wanted to return to the sect. Would the Dagon dynasty overthrow this iron law of thousands of years? Now that the leading cadres are short of troops, they will inevitably suffer huge losses if they want to send troops to conquer and return to the sect. This part of the power is really bad. At this time, the civil and military officials hurriedly persuaded them. Your Majesty, now Dagon is like an empty dynasty. Without a reserve of troops, he will be returned to the sect. If there is a conflict with the sect, we must be asking for trouble. The strength of the sect is completely comparable to that of a prosperous dynasty. General Yi Tian is now going to guard the frontier. If he is sent over, then the Dali dynasty leads troops to conquer the frontier, and the people of the Dagon dynasty we will never escape death. Your Majesty is definitely not a wise move. Right now, the Chao gang is not stable. If Your Majesty insists on doing this, it will definitely put the Dagon dynasty into a situation of internal and external troubles. This move is too violent and extreme. Please think twice, Your Majesty. The civil and military officials all showed worried expressions. They are important ministers of the dynasty, and the prosperity of this dynasty has an inseparable relationship with them. However, of course there are people who are very close to the sect. However, Luo Qingshan, who was sitting on the dragon chair, had a frosty face, and her cold face suddenly became more determined. That's it. Do as I said. Return to the sect. If you want to resist the threat of the Great Li dynasty, you can only destroy the sect. Although it hurts your nerves and bones, it will make the power of the high-level beast masters grow in a short time. The fall of this imperial decree directly caused an uproar within the Dagon dynasty. The countless sects were shocked, and many sects even faintly opened the union. Now the Dali dynasty stands still, and what is waiting is that they are the first to panic. This is more like an opportunity. I'm so hard to be attacked, like walking on thin ice. Luo Qingshan, after all, she is confused. It can be said that this decree of Luo Qingshan caused a turmoil in the Dagon dynasty. I am afraid that this dynasty will eventually fall into the hands of this female emperor. Countless people have this idea in their hearts. Luo Qingshan hadn't seen it for a while, now he was dead, so he could only fight like this. At the same time, Wang Dao, who was eating roast chicken, had no idea. After signing in at Dynasty for 3 days and successfully strengthening the Golden Bell, Wang Dao has lived his life as a salted fish again. Now in the Dynasty, I multiply my cultivation speed by dozens of times to calculate. All day long, he turned his belly, raised Erlang's legs, and slept with the purgatory stick as a pillow. Then selectively ignore the Black Dog Emperor. On this day, Wang Dao, who was idle and okay, suddenly heard a conversation between a few eunuchs. It is said that this Dagon dynasty had a towering mountain named Leanu Mountain. That mountain has the effect of enhancing the cultivation of spirit beasts and beast masters. The beast masters of the Dagon dynasty, as long as they have a higher level of cultivation, will choose to go to Leanu Mountain to practice. If there is such a fairy mountain, Wang Dao will naturally go over and find out. 10 times improvement, can it increase? After wiping the halazi, Wang Dao, whose face was greasy, grabbed these little eunuchs and came to the Leanu Mountain. On the road, Wang Dao walked in the forefront. He was the spirit beast of the female emperor of the Dagon dynasty. Although Luo Qingshan didn't give him the title of the beast of the country, but especially, who I am Wang Dao. The female emperor contract beast, the fierce beast Teoti. Although it was just a little dog on the surface. Master Wang Dao, go slower. Several little eunuchs were chasing after him, their clothes already soaked in sweat. Since having the golden bell, Wang Dao's practice speed has grown very fast. Throw away those 4 dog legs as fast as lightning. But in the same way, he shares the talents of Luo Qingshan. Even if Luo Qingshan is not by his side, he can spy on Luo Qingshan's every move. What's annoying is that every time Luo Qingshan wants to take a bath, she shared her talent with shielding. Did a lot of things happen in the dynasty recently? Wang Dao turned his head and asked with a high expression on his face. The Empress Qingshan wants to take back the sect now. This matter makes the civil and military officials under the dynasty very dissatisfied. The little eunuch often wandered inward and naturally knew something. Oh, Wang Dao tilted his dog's head, what's the use of returning to the sect? Few people know about Zongmin, but these eunuchs are obviously not among them. Zongmin is a powerful force walking in the arena. The other little eunuch swallowed and whispered, if a sect is strong enough, it can be comparable to a dynasty. And the first major sect of the Dagon dynasty is called Yunlin sect. This fairy mountain was discovered by the sect master Yunlin. When a few people looked up, they could see the Leanu mountain, which was entangled by immortal energy. At that time, sect master Yunlan found this fairy mountain and was immediately targeted by several other sects. After all, this is a treasure place for cultivators. However, the other sects did not rob the fairy mountain. They paid more attention to the reputation of the sect. In the end, they could only agree with the Yanzong that they could go in and practice when the Leanu mountain was entangled by the fairy qi. And today, it happens to be the time when Leanu mountain was entangled by immortal energy. When Wang Dao and the others got to the foot of Leanu mountain, they heard a loud noise. Disciples of the Yunlin sect, do you want to be reasonable? When the various sects agreed that when the lotus mist was wandering, we could enter the fairy mountain together, but now you are preventing us from entering. This is a little too much. Click it. Leanwu mountain was discovered by your sect master, but as a treasure mountain, we are all qualified to go in for cultivation. If you block it like this, the sect master will definitely kill you if he knows it. The Yunlin sect has dominated the fairy mountain for 100 years. Now we juniors want to go in for cultivation, but you are narrow-minded. Abandoning the previous agreement, you are really too much. A group of disciples from other sects stood at the foot of Leanwu mountain and said angrily. But the urchins in front of them looked very arrogant and domineering. In the face of so many people, they have no fear at all. The wonder of the lotus mist is indeed true today, but our Yunlin sect has more important things. You should go back first. The owner of this fairy mountain was originally us. As for the agreement, that was the previous thing. Beside that little boy, stood a few mortal-level spirit beasts. His cultivation base had just reached the 2nd level. Even so, the group of people directly below them, the worst have the 2nd order mid-term. However, in the face of these 2 naughty disciples of the Yunlin sect, each sect was powerless and could only fight for this opportunity with all their tongues. The status of Yunlanzong in the sect is terrifying. After Wang Dao figured out the ins and outs of this incident, Wang Dao took a few small eunuchs directly to the foot of Leanwu mountain. At the same time, when the major sects saw Wang Dao, they couldn't help but feel a touch of astonishment in their eyes. How could a mortal beast get out of the blood of a fairy beast? However, behind the mortal-level spirit beast, a few little eunuchs slowly walked up, and when they saw the symbols embroidered on the eunuchs' chests, everyone's faces immediately became more in awe. This is a member of the royal family of the Dagon dynasty. How come people from the Dagon dynasty come here? Didn't you hear that Dagon is going to be returned to the sect, and a war is about to happen? When the 2 urchins saw that each other was from the Dagon dynasty, their words remained cold. A few eunuchs who have been castrated, bring your mortal-level spirit beasts over. Do you want to go to Leanwu mountain to practice? But you don't have too much hope. Although Leanwu mountain has miraculous effects, it has no effect on waste. Where the little eunuchs dared to speak more, they all looked at Wang Dao. At this time, Wang Dao looked disdainful, and the little kid who hadn't even grown his hair was taking advantage of Yunlanzong's prestige here. Wang Dao looks down on this kind of person the most. Grandmas, I didn't wear the crotch pants, just give me some advice here, lousy. Call out. A flaming arrow shot suddenly at the 2 little urchins, and a huge boulder next to them suddenly exploded. The gravel mixed with flames immediately frightened the 2 little urchins. Who dared to attack my young Yanzong? After the panic was undecided, the little naughty boy clutched his head and said hysterically. The disciples of the other sects were also at a loss, only Wang Dao smiled with a successful conspiracy. Cut. How many kids, don't you kneel down when you see your brother Dao? Wearing trousers with open crotch to run around, young Yanzong called you to guard the fairy mountain, isn't it shameful? After the two urchins who opened the door reacted, there was another sonic boom around them, and it happened that a piece of gravel was impartial and quickly flew in front of a urchin. Oops. The naughty boy closed his eyes in despair, and they looked terrified. At the same time, above the fairy mountain, a terrifying coercion struck, and a rainbow suddenly appeared, and a sharp sword air swept across it, directly smashing the broken stone into pieces. Boom! The two urchins opened their eyes and suddenly saw the stalwart figure in front of them. Suddenly, the urchin laughed loudly. The big brother of my sect Master Yunlin is here. You are going to be drunk today. Today's Lotus Mist Wonders, the Yunlin sect disciples came to practice in Shanshan. Young Yanzong's confidants were even ordered to come and guard the fairy mountain. The two door-opening urchins immediately knelt down in front of the young man, and said respectfully. Disciples, see senior brother Sha Ming. Sha Ming. The big brother recognized by the Yunlin sect is also the big disciple of the Yunlin sect master. With the cultivation base of the third-tier midterm, and his spirit beast is a 1,000-bird ice cloud sculpture of spirit-level bloodline. A super spirit beast that can melt everything with ice and snow. Sha Ming showed disdain, looking at Wang Dao like a monarch, with a sharp edge hidden in his eyebrows. Naughty animal, to dare to set foot in front of my Yunlin sect, to step on my mountain gate, and to hurt my disciples, it is so bold. Is it true that my Yunlin Zong sect is unmanned? A mere beast, don't kneel down. Sha Ming shouted angrily, like a thunderstorm, exploding from the air. Looking at the little dog in front of him, he felt that the other party was just a mortal beast. Endless contempt rose in his heart. He even felt that his appearance was totally unnecessary. The Tier 3 spirit-level spirit beast Chidori Bingyan sculpture next to him, looking at Wang Dao, even raised his arrogant head. Wang Dao ignored it and chose to ignore it. It seems that you are really tired of living. Suddenly, Sha Ming's eyebrows squinted, and after gently waving his hand, a cold and biting icy snowflake suddenly appeared beside Wang Dao. The little eunuchs behind Wang Dao were so frightened that they knelt on the ground. They shouted, "Don't, at this time, my emperor's spirit beast." As soon as he said this, Sha Ming suddenly pulled his hand back, and the cold light around Wang Dao disappeared in vain. But when he looked at Wang Dao, his eyes were still cold. It turned out to be a member of the dynasty, no wonder how arrogant, to report a name. Above the rivers and lakes is where their sects stand. But outside the sect, there are the powerful dynasties. The water of the two wells does not violate the water of the river. If the relationship between the two is overturned, I am afraid it will cause a mighty catastrophe. As the first sect of the rivers and lakes, Yunlanzong has many powerful beast masters. Following Luo Qingshan's order to be returned to the sect, the beast masters in the sect were always on standby in the sect. This Dagon dynasty wants to order the resumption of the sect, which undoubtedly declares war with all the sects in the rivers and lakes. A female emperor, really wishful thinking. But this can't be put on the face, and Yunlanzong is related to several dynasties. The little eunuch's legs were weak, he trembled, and said. This spirit beast is the Zhengguo spirit beast of the Dagon dynasty, the love of the Empress Luo Qingshan. Dagon dynasty. Hearing this, Sha Ming's eyes flashed fiercely. The little eunuch thought that the other party hadn't heard clearly, and said again. It's true, we are all from the palace of the Dagon dynasty. When the words fell, Sha Ming's eyes were full of hostility. At the same time, Sha Ming gently raised his hand, his eyes full of killing intent. Dagon dynasty still dare to set foot in our Yunlin sect. It's really ridiculous. The disciples of the sect can't wait to smash the corpses of your Dagon dynasty. Since you are sent to the door, you will kill the chickens and the monkeys first. A daughter who is trying to expand the territory to our Yunlin sect is too greedy. In time, Luo Qingshan and Dagon dynasty will be like you. Die to me. The disciples of the other sects were watching from the sidelines. When they learned the identity of these people, their eyes became sharp. Today, there is a big disciple of the Yanzong who is taking action, and these people will definitely die. It just so happened that they gave out this bad breath for them. Some disciples quietly closed their eyes. The sect and the dynasty did not interfere with each other. Luo Qingshan's approach made the major sects very disgusted. I saw the 1,000 birds frozen cloud sculpture suddenly spread its wings, and its body suddenly became huge, and under the huge wings, there were countless ice crystals freezing. An aura of coldness covered the foot of Leanu mountain. In just an instant, the temperature near Shanshan suddenly dropped. Frozen extinct domain. A stern breath came out, and under the wings of the 1,000-bird ice cloud sculpture, the condensed ice crystals had turned into a huge ice stone, and the cold breath seemed to solidify the air. As the 1,000 birds frozen cloud sculpture attacked, Wang Dao's side was enveloped by the air of frost, and all living creatures would be condensed when entering the range of the frozen domain. And the following thousands of caddies of ice and stones can even destroy everything in the world. Wang Dao's surroundings had long been covered by ice and snow, and he seemed to be wrapped in a piece of ice and snow. Wang Dao lazily looked at everything in front of him, and then at Sha Ming's strenuous expression. I thought to myself, if he can subdue this ice bird with a single move, will it hit him too much? This is an ice bird. This is the first time I have seen each other. I don't know if it tastes good or not. Boom! The frozen domain had already condensed. Seeing the little dog in the barrier, his face was ruthless. Sha Ming knew that the dog must be frightened by the scene in front of him. The mere mortal beasts really do not live or die. Just let your death ignite the battle between Dagon Dynasty and Yanzong. However, the spirit beast of a female emperor turned out to be a mortal beast, and his strength was just like that. Go to hell. The ice stones condensed by the 1,000 birds frozen cloud sculpture swiftly attacked Wang Dao, and in an instant, the violent power caused the spirit beasts around the other sect disciples to shrink to the ground in fright. The surrounding cold air made the beast masters feel a lot of goosebumps. Could this be the strength of the great disciple of Yanzong? It is too strong. Worthy of being the first sect, Yunlin sect. When the gravel covered Wang Dao's figure, everyone believed that the dog had already died, and now it must have turned into some ice scum. The little eunuchs on the side were so frightened that they knelt on the ground repeatedly begging for mercy. But since they belong to the Dagon dynasty, their fate is no different from that of Wang Dao. Sha Ming shook his head and said coldly, "You people, go and stay with this dog." Once again, the Chidori ice cloud sculpture opened its wings, and countless ice crystals shot out one after another. The frozen ice cubes, like arrows, fell violently to the little eunuch's side. Hiss! Everyone took a breath. This Sha Ming's shot was really hot. But at this moment, in the ice and snow area, a red light suddenly appeared, and the sound of ice breaking exploded at the foot of Leanu mountain. The sound of the sonic boom shook the spirit beasts within a radius of several miles. Of course, the Qiandiao Bingyan sculpture's face first showed a confused look, and the next moment he was stabbed by his own ice scum. Oh! The Qiandiao Bingyan sculpture fell to the ground in pain, and Sha Ming also felt that his whole body was about to be torn apart. Above the spirit-level spirit beasts, the beast master and the spirit beasts share not only their talents but also their souls. When the spirit beast is hurt, the beast master will also feel the same pain. However, sharing souls generally allows the beast master to better feel that when his spirit beast is cultivating, what problems will occur in his body, can he prescribe the right medicine. But at this moment, the 1,000 birds Bingyan sculpture was injured, and the pain in his heart caused Sha Ming to fall to the ground and fainted. After a burst of smoke dissipated, everyone looked at the scene in front of them in surprise. I saw a dog holding a stick about 7 feet wide in his hand. The stick was enveloped by a black air, which looked terrifying. Hey, isn't the stick delicious? Wang Dao smiled, carrying a club, and slowly walked to Sha Ming's side. Seeing that the master was in trouble, the 1,000 birds Bingyan sculpture wanted to support it, but helplessly, countless pieces of debris fell into her body, and her internal organs were all injured to varying degrees at this moment. No fighting capacity. One-hit uniform. Looking at Sha Ming who had passed out into a coma, Wang Dao had to sigh. Although this person's strength is not very good, but the means of pretending to be forceful, it is simply clever. It is hard for everyone on the scene to imagine that as the first sect of Yanzong, there are people who dare to despise the majesty of Yanzong and run wild on his turf. Moreover, also defeated the first genius. Big brother, big brother. The disciples trot all the way, hurriedly helping Sha Ming up. Seeing that senior brother Sha Ming, who was so supreme for them, was defeated so easily by a dog. Is this mortal beast pretending to be a pig and eat a tiger? The Chidori Bingyan carving on the side was dying, and his entire body collapsed on the ground, making a faint breathing sound. I don't know what method was used to subdue a tier 3 spirit level spirit beast with one blow. This strength is simply terrifying. At this moment, a daunting coercion suddenly struck. Like a fierce and fierce wind, it swept across the foot of Leanu Mountain for a moment. After a while, a voice rang like a bell. Hee, the old man retreats for a few days, and I didn't expect that a mortal beast would dare to run wild in front of my Yunlin sect. Na Luo Qingshan, as a great female emperor, deliberately wanted to retake all the sects. Now even her spirit beasts are so arrogant that they come alone to my Yun Lanzong arrogant. I really don't see the old man in his eyes. The old man has a cold face. A clear breeze blew past. Although it seemed that the strength was weak, the deterrent power was enough to make everyone's legs weak, and they couldn't help kneeling down on the ground. Bang bang. A group of disciples knelt in a row. An old man wearing a Taoist robe was staring at Wang Dao in front of him. Although his beard was white, his face was extremely ruddy, like a newborn baby, and his whole person looked vigorous. I saw the old man waving the scepter in his hand, and a breeze wrapped Sha Ming in an instant. After a while, Sha Ming's complexion gradually became bloody. Seeing that the disciple was seriously injured, the old man turned his head, and the killing intent broke out in vain in his eyes. I have long heard that the mortal beast next to the Emperor Dagon is not simple. I saw it today and it was really extraordinary. During the words, waving the fairy rod, a touch of bluish-white supernatural power rushed towards Wang Dao. This old man looks very strong. The god of purgatory stick in Wang Dao's hand increased again, and the god stick, which was about tens of feet wide, exposed endless evil spirits. Boom! With a light wave, that divine power was blown away. At this moment, the old eyes revealed an incredible expression. The look of astonishment was fleeting, and the old man stroked his white beard, and a horrible breath soared to the point of distorting the surrounding space. The law of heaven and earth. Puffy moon essence. Seeing the old man scratching the void, the fairy rod in his hand immediately emitted a brilliant light, and the golden light shot towards Wang Dao like a blazing sun. At the same time, Wang Dao spoke eloquently, and after putting the magic stick in his bag, a black cloud suddenly moved over his head. With the increase of the system, Wang Dao has evolved the practice of good fortune technique to good fortune technique. In that battle of Emperor Yu Qian, he used this trick to subdue him, and he was instantly wiped out. Naughty animal, dare to pick me up. The old man's words were indifferent, urging his divine power, and his whole body and the fairy rod were wrapped in it. Stop talking nonsense, old man. Master will kill you today. Wang Dao opened his eyes abruptly, making seals in his hands, urging his spiritual consciousness. God of good fortune, out. The power of the two burst together, but the next moment, the old man's eyes suddenly opened. This power, feeling a violent force, rushing straight at his divine consciousness, this is the supreme divine art catalyzed by the immortal bone. How can a mere mortal beast obtain this magic trick? Mental attack. The body and spirit are destroyed together. In the old heart, there is only deep regret at this time. I thought that as the old sect master of the Yunlin sect, with the blessing of immortal bones, he was already approaching the fourth order beast master, and the opponent was just a mortal level spirit beast. Relying on his blood, the old man thought he could wipe out this evil animal. Shouldn't it? Shouldn't it? In an instant, the black cloud above Wang Dao dissipated, and Leanu Mountain once again bloomed with a wonderful sight. God of good fortune, heaven and earth are annihilated. The old man exhausted his whole body to solve the problem, and he couldn't get rid of being mentally devastated, and his Dao bones were eroded by the gods, but Wang Dao's move did not end there. On Leanu Mountain, when seeing the different colors of the world and seeing the elders appearing, the disciples of the Yunlin sect rushed into the foot of the mountain. Hiss! When the disciples of Leanu Mountain saw the elder who fell on the ground, their eyes were cracked, and they all looked at Wang Dao. The disciples of the Yunlin sect listened to orders. Arrangement. Sha Ming, who had recovered his mind, roared loudly at this time. Suddenly, on Leanu Mountain, a wave of immortal energy moved above that formation. Yunlan Zongzhen. If the elder Yunlanzong's Shi Yu Jing Fa is the most powerful technique of the sect, then, this Yunlan sect formation is definitely the final measure of the Zongmen's survival and death. It can be called the guardian god or ray. The appearance of Wang Dao caused smog all over the Yunlan sect in an instant. Oh, with so many people, it's not good to bully me alone. Wang Dao buttoned his nose and took out the purgatory stick again. Boom. At this moment when the aura gathered, Wang Dao lifted the magic stick and broke the formation with one stroke. With another blow, the final formation of Yunlanzong was shattered. The formation was broken, all the disciples of the Yunlan sect vomited blood, knelt on the ground, unconscious. Sha Ming showed a desperate expression. He stood up with his body braced. Behind him, all the disciples of Yunlanzong were subdued. Sha Ming couldn't help showing a look of horror. He gritted his teeth, raised his head and said proudly, "Even if I die, I won't say a word." Hearing Sha Ming's words, Wang Dao was taken aback for a moment, and then a smile appeared on his face. "You are still pretending to be forced to die, and you don't want to break through the Yunlanzong. What are you doing with the awe-inspiring appearance of a strong man?" Sha Ming was also startled, staring at Wang Dao in front of him thoughtfully. Wang Dao was lazy and sluggish. He gently wiped the magic stick with his body, and then took the magic stick into his bag. The black cloud had long disappeared, and the deterrence of the gods of good fortune was completely gone. The little dog in front of him looked harmless to humans and animals, which was completely unexpected. Just now, with his own power, he almost wiped out the entire Yunlan sect. This time, everyone at the foot of Leanu Mountain did not dare to despise Wang Dao again. The disciples of Yunlan sect, although their bodies were severely injured, they still braced themselves and bowed one by one in front of Wang Dao. All the disciples of the Yunlan sect, pay homage to Lord Protector of the Beast. Under the different color of the lotus mist, everyone looked respectful, kneeling in front of a little yellow dog. Wang Dao looked at everything in front of him triumphantly, feeling refreshed in his heart. From now on, the gods of the world, when they see him, will keep calling Guj Guj, that's how majestic. Seeing that Wang Dao had no intention of killing half, for a while, everyone couldn't help thinking, is it possible that this Dagon dynasty is not as they thought? It is a very weak dynasty. Isn't the female emperor only the third rank? Some people even think that a god-protecting beast can bloom with such prestige. How terrifying is that great goddess? Even Luo Qingshan could not think that Wang Dao went out to practice this time, and he took the first sect, Yunlanzong, back to him. The different color of the lotus mist lasted for only half a day. Today, all the sects came to Lianwu to practice according to the agreement. Many disciples of the sects have gained a lot, and many sect elders have also broken through the bottleneck. It was also because of Wang Dao's arrival that the elder disciples of the Yunlan sect were unable to go to the Fairy Mountain to practice, and all the disciples suffered varying degrees of loss. And let other sects benefit. When Wang Dao returned to the Dagon dynasty with a few eunuchs, the other disciples of the sect elders worshipped Wang Dao's back deeply, and waited for a long time before they dared to stand up. For Wang Dao, subduing Yunlanzong today will promote Luo Qingshan's move to return to the sect. However, this matter, Yunlanzong will never stop here. Dagon dynasty, inside the palace. Luo Qingshan was sitting high on the dragon chair, and the military officials under their feet surrendered. At this moment, a squall struck, and the silver-white flying blade, mixed with the breaking wind, quickly attacked Luo Qingshan. Boom! Seeing this, the shadow stood in front of Luo Qingshan, but fortunately, the flying blade hit the stone pillar aside. All ministers were surprised. On the flying blade, there is also a piece of cloud blue paper. Luo Qingshan looked calm, pinched with 2 fingers, and took off the cloud blue paper. The civil and military officials underneath were even more horrified. When they saw Luo Qingshan's complexion getting more and more hazy, the surrounding air would freeze. Who is it, so bold? Luo Qingshan showed killing intent, and saw a white fairy gas suddenly scattered on the cloud blue paper, and immediately an image of an old man appeared in front of them. An ethereal word sounded, and the shadow was a sharp blade protecting his waist, in case of emergency. The old man is the Xuanweizi, the second sect master of the Yunlan sect. A few days ago, Dagon's Zhengguo spirit beast swarmed at the foot of our Lianwu mountain, causing the elders of the sect and all the disciples to suffer severe physical injuries. When the lotus mist bloomed with different colors, it should have been for the elders of the sect to increase their strength and strengthen the sect. But his arrival completely disturbed the elders' intensive cultivation. This old man has practiced in retreat for more than 300 years. I have to go down the mountain today. Within tomorrow, I must send the spirit beast to the Yunlin sect, and apologize with the elder disciples. Otherwise, I will blame the old man for being unreasonable. The words stopped abruptly, and the white old figure suddenly disappeared. Above the court, the civil and military officials recognized this old figure and had to sigh. I didn't expect that this old thing is still alive. Hi, Xuanwizi, the most recognized elder of Yunlanzong. At the beginning, Yunlanzong was under the rule of Xuanwizi in its heyday. Above the rivers and lakes, who doesn't know a romantic figure like Xuanwizi? After a while, the hundreds of civil and military officials facing downwards all looked at Luo Qingshan, who was sitting high on the dragon chair. Now that Xuanwizi has come forward, this time their empress is afraid that she has kicked an iron plate. This is an accident in an accident. Looking at Luo Qingshan, the shadow was even more worried. The emperor, this matter still needs to be considered. After all, sending Master Wang Dao to Yunlanzong is undoubtedly a sheep-to-wolf mouth. Luo Qingshan gently shook her head. At this moment, she stood up from the dragon chair, with a smile on her face. The emperors of the previous dynasties, after ascending to the throne, have to experience a lot of attacks. Luo Qingshan knows that returning to the sect this time will definitely not be so easy. I plan to take a trip to Yunlanzong, and I must not delay returning to the sect. Let me see what he has in the end. In front of the civil and military officials, Luo Qingshan smiled knowingly, and there was a touch of coldness in her beautiful eyes. This matter can't be delayed, let's go. Go to Yunlanzong. The sacrifice of the flag is a must. Luo Qingshan always acted vigorously, and the military officers were even more ready to go, led by the shadow, and followed Luo Qingshan to Yunlanzong. Yunlanzong is the #1 sect, and the two elders, Xuanwizi, are absolutely extraordinary. Hundreds of generals are ready to go to the Yunlanzong. Yunlanzong. The day before yesterday, Wang Dao made an uproar at Leanu Mountain and gave all the disciples of the Yunlin sect a blow. But the second elder suddenly went down the mountain, making the disciples in the clan extremely excited. In the sect, no one knows that before practicing in retreat, the second elder was the supreme powerhouse of the Yunlin sect, and he was the pillar of the sect. Xuanwei, out of the mountain. After coming out of the mountain, when Xuanwizi learned of the incident, he even used means to warn the female emperor Luo Qingshan that he must bring the evil animal tomorrow and come to apologize. After learning of this, the disciples in the clan were completely relieved. At the same time, the disciples in the clan were discussing in the Yunlin clan, and suddenly, a voice rang out loudly. Luo Qingshan, the female emperor of the Dagon dynasty, see. The magnificent and bright voice immediately shocked the disciples in the clan. But in an instant, the disciples laughed more proudly. Oh, why did Luo Qingshan come in advance? The trivial female emperor still wants to return to the Yunlin sect. There are two elders now, let's see how powerful she is. It is estimated that the prestige of the second elder has shocked this woman, so she is now bringing the spirit beast, come over in advance and apologize. A female emperor, doesn't she have to kneel down in front of Yunlanzong and apologize for her mistake? The disciples had already begun to think of the next scene. After seeing the second elder, Luo Qingshan looked down and admitted his mistake. At the same time, a rainbow of light suddenly appeared, and the next figure of Sha Ming appeared in front of the gate of Yunlanzong. Looking at the figure of Luo Qingshan leading the generals, Sha Ming said with a gloomy look. I have no grievances or enmity between Yunlanzong and the female emperor. Why did your spirit beast fight against the Yunlanzong disciples, and I was almost abolished and reduced to a useless person? After Sha Ming finished speaking, he coughed a few times. It was obvious that the trauma he suffered a few days ago was not complete. Luo Qingshan looked at Sha Ming and frowned. Who is here? The disciple of the elder Yunlanzong, Sha Ming. At this time, Luo Qingshan asked again. You are the proud disciple of Sect Master Yunlin, known as the strongest master, Sha Ming. With the second elders here today, Sha Ming is naturally not afraid, but now he smiles triumphantly. What? I want to admit my mistake. What Sha Ming didn't expect was that Luo Qingshan was only confirming his identity. The next moment, a black shadow flashed in front of Sha Ming, and a faint fragrance filled Sha Ming's side. After returning to his senses, he found that Luo Qingshan was standing beside him. In her hand, she was holding a 3-inch broken blade. Blade refers to the throat. Sha Ming wanted to avoid it sideways, but his whole body was restrained by an inexplicable force, unable to move. At this moment, in the depths of Yanzong, a loud voice sounded in vain. Good means, but are you too careless about the consequences? You can do it in my Yunlin sect. It's the voice of the second elder. Xuanwei. Sha Ming, who was unable to move, breathed a sigh of relief. A smile came out of the corner of his mouth, and said gloomily, "There are 2 elders today, and the head of your Empress must be explained here." As Sha Ming finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. A little yellowish dog slowly walked out of Luo Qingshan's side. Wang Dao looked at Sha Ming with a mean smile on his face. The moment Sha Ming saw Wang Dao, his body was shocked. How could this little dog be here? Not only that, all the disciples of Yunlin sect's elders all showed horrified expressions. The day before yesterday, there was a riot in Yunlanzong. After Wang Dao used the god of good fortune, everyone remembered the power clearly. He slept for a few days in the dynasty, with the blessing of the golden bell jar. In these few days, let his cultivation level soar again. Now, he also has the cultivation base of the 3rd tier midterm. Be a salted fish, lie flat and practice, it's cool. This time Luo Qingshan went on the expedition, how could he not be there? Next, Wang Dao said impatiently. Xuanwei, this name is very non-mainstream. I heard that I was still in retreat for hundreds of years, and I was still in that self-proclaimed sage. To be honest, this forced me to admire Wang Dao. If you are sensible, come to visit your dog brother, call your dog brother, I will buy you some melatonin to cure your brain. All the disciples of Yunlanzong couldn't help looking panicked when they spoke a lie. They all looked at the second elder of Yunlanzong soaring in the sky, Xuanweizi. I saw Xuanwei's beard curled up. He had never seen such an arrogant dog. But if all the disciples were there, if he was furious, he would not have a good reputation for the sect. All the sect elders were angry with the dog. If this spread out in the past, it would be full of dynasty ridicule and be reduced to a laughing stock. I thought that the second elder would surely subdue Luo Qingshan and others with one blow, but when he saw the second elder, he didn't take the initiative. The excitement on Sha Ming's face instantly changed. Luo Qingshan, who was beside Sha Ming, was even more indifferent at this time, and pierced the short blade in his hand to Sha Ming's throat. The red blood splashed on the door of Yunlanzong. In an instant, Sha Ming fell to the ground in despair, and his pupils quickly lost their blood. At this moment, the elder disciples of Yunlanzong were very excited, and the Xuanwei who soared in the air was disguised and furious to the extreme. He did it deliberately. This fight requires a sign. As for a disciple, he doesn't care. Xuanweizi shouted angrily. A female emperor, without a word, directly assassinated my sect genius. It is the style of the king of a country, okay. Then I'm not welcome. The military officers behind Luo Qingshan were even more stunned at this moment. Even Wang Dao was looking at Luo Qingshan. He didn't expect this woman to be so decisive. In front of Yunlanzong, in front of the sect elder, Luo Qingshan lightly killed the sect genius. Sure enough, no one can provoke the Empress. Xuanweizi's face was so gloomy that he was dripping with water, his whole body was cold, and he looked at Luo Qingshan, trying to get her to give an explanation. The dignified female emperor, her every move is completely representative of this dynasty. Absurd. But, at this moment, the shadow on the side quickly pulled out a scroll and flew up to Luo Qingshan. Luo Qingshan waved her hand and opened the scroll with a frosty expression. In Qian Dynasty 1624, Sha Ming joined forces with the Dark Temple to strangle Dalizong, snatch spirit beasts, and dominate the land. In 1626 of the Qian Dynasty, Sha Ming obliterated the second disciple of the elder in Qingfeng Valley due to jealousy. Luo Qingshan read a series of 6, and all the bad deeds of Sha Ming's life were announced to the public. All the sect disciples, including the second elders, looked a little surprised. They didn't know about these things, and the elder's second disciple disappeared bizarrely, and the sect sent countless masters to search for it. So far, there is no news. It turned out that all of this was done by Xia Ming. At this point, Luo Qingxian put away the scroll, raised his head and said calmly. Although the arena and the dynasty are not at odds with each other, before Yanlanzong and other sects leave the arena, all this is under the control of the Dagon dynasty. Since I plan to return to the sect, Xia Ming should be executed immediately according to the law of the Dagon dynasty. Luo Qingxian's voice was like a thunder in the sky, and a blow struck the hearts of the elders and disciples of the Yunlin sect. The words fall, the audience. Deathly silence. Xuanweizi thought that Luo Qingxian deliberately killed Xia Ming and wanted to have an attack, but after that, she disclosed Xia Ming's bad deeds to the public one by one. The prince of a country will never joking about these things. And if he had a seizure, he couldn't win other sects, it would be troublesome. The military attaches who came along this time looked at Luo Qingxian with tangled expressions. When they came this time, they had negotiated with Yanlanzong as Luo Qingxian said. I thought that there would be no friction between the two sides, but as soon as Luo Qingxian came up, he couldn't help but obliterate the genius of the Zongmen. With this step, the military officers thought that the fight of the same sect would be triggered at any moment. But then, Luo Qingxian announced the misdeeds one by one, and immediately reversed the outcome. Such a thoughtful and hardworking woman is indeed the female emperor of the Dagon dynasty. All the disciples of Yanlanzong raised their heads to look at Xuanweizi. In such a situation, they no longer know what to do. Luo Qingxian's step directly checkmate death and resolve the embarrassment. Xuanwei waved his hand, a breeze passed by, and Xia Ming's corpse was eliminated along with the blood stains in front of the sect. Immediately afterwards, Luo Qingxian ordered the shadow to read the rest of the scroll together. At this moment, all the officials were shocked. When the shadow read out each of the crimes, there was a disciple in the clan, head off the ground. Luo Qingxian's ghostly figure completely made the elder disciples in the clan unaware of it. The content of the scroll seems to be the life and death book of Hades. Every time it is read, a creature will die forever. The breath of death permeated the Yunlan sect. At this moment, the disciples in the clan couldn't bear it anymore, all of them knelt on the ground with horror and confessed their mistakes. I begged the female emperor for mercy. At first, I was so obsessed with my heart that I blasphemed the suzerain. Please beg the Empress, let us spare our lives. As long as you can circumvent my life, I will definitely take refuge in the dynasty, be a cow and a horse for you, and be called as a dog. Begging for mercy sounded one after another, however, Luo Qingxian's face was calm and waved to the shadow. Keep reading. For a moment, the sect disciples were all timid, their legs were weak, and they knelt on the ground. An hour later, the Yunlin sect had already been stained with blood. At this moment, the celestial spirit of Leanu mountain in the different colors of the world was eliminated by this strong murderous aura, and there was no fairyland in the past. Countless disciples died again. Nearly more than half of the entire Yunlan sect were killed by one blow. And Xuanwei didn't move. Luo Qingxian and this little yellow dog didn't dare to move, because those helpers wouldn't take action under these crimes. When Shadow finished reading all the contents of the scroll, Luo Qingxian's expression returned to coldness again, and she turned and said coldly. Returning to the sect is my idea, Luo Qingxian. Today, I just want you to remember one sentence: Dagon dynasty, always above the rivers and lakes, is the best way to reclaim the sect. But there is no way to make a conclusion. Before leaving, Wang Dao followed Luo Qingxian and murmured dissatisfiedly. His grandma, I didn't ask my dog brother to pretend to be forced today, Luo Qingxian, it's so peculiar and unkind. As the largest sect, Yunlin sect was humiliated twice in a row, and all shocked the whole arena. The matter of Luo Qingxian's blood staining the Yanlanzong, like a prairie fire, spread quickly throughout the rivers and lakes. When the neighboring dynasties learned of this, they sent troops overnight to guard the frontier. A female emperor made such a fierce shot. Just because of this, the neighboring dynasties sent troops to garrison, and beware of every move. This represents Luo Qingxian's determination to rectify and work hard. After these few days, after all the sects learned of this, they scolded Luo Qingxian's behavior one after another. Even if Luo Qingxian is justified in this matter, every sentence is true. Afraid. They are really scared. There are countless sects in the rivers and lakes, but there are many contradictions between them. After this incident, the sect miraculously chose to join forces just to fight against this great goddess. Countless first-class sects have chosen to join forces and share the same hatred, but many sects still choose to remain silent. The reason is simple. Luo Qingshan can have such courage. If the Zongmin teamwork cannot eliminate the Dagon dynasty, then the Zongmin participating in it will be slashed overnight. The beast masters on the rivers and lakes have other choices. The turmoil in the rivers and lakes quickly spread to Luo Qingshan's ears. Luo Qingshan, who was sitting high on the dragon chair, had no expression on her face when she learned of the incident, her face cold. She knew very well that the blood-stained Yunlanzong was just killing chickens and monkeys. Going to the Yunlan sect to eliminate the mobs was only the first step, and the other sect's choice to join forces was also in her expectation. However, nearly 30% of the sects chose to remain silent in this storm. Luo Qingshan knew that these 30% of the sects had already tacitly agreed to be taken back by Dagon. This is a good thing. After inquiring about the inside story, he couldn't help but smile when he learned that Wang Dao would subdue Xia Ming and the elder Yunlanzong with one blow. A smile was added to his majestic face in vain. At the same time, Wang Dao, who was asleep in the royal beast tower, unknowingly mastered a new technique, and his cultivation level had been improved to the late 3rd stage. Now the first-class sects of the arena have chosen to join forces to deal with this dynasty of great leaders. The neighboring countries chose to increase their troops and guard the frontiers, but they still secretly deployed troops and generals in an attempt to gain some advantage after Luo Qingshan confronted the Zhonghu sect. After Luo Qingshan ascended the throne, although he regained a few lost ground, he paid a certain price more or less. Under the rule of Emperor Qian, the people's minds were unstable and the foundation of the country was not reliable. At this time, Luo Qingshan took office and burned on the head of the Zongmin. This turmoil, undercurrents surging, huge storms condensed in the rivers and lakes, is about to hit. Not to mention that there is a dark temple lingering nearby. Wudang Mountain. Here is another major sect of the Dagon dynasty, Wudangzong. As the second power in the world, Wudang sect does not have a fairy mountain like Yunlanzong, but Wudang sect has the longest history. It must have many means to become the second sect. After Yunlanzong passed through these two events, most of the strong sects were basically destroyed. Sect Master's body was even more severely damaged. Although the Xuanian who came out of the mountain was superior in strength, the strength of the remaining sect disciples was sluggish. It can be said that the Yunlan sect was almost extinct. The remaining sect that planned to join forces began to focus on the second sect, Wudangzong. At this time, within Wudang Mountain, the elders of various factions gathered here. This time, they came to Wudangzong to discuss the matter of joining hands. But at this moment, Wudang Mountain suddenly heard a loud noise, and the elders of the sects were startled and looked at the entrance of the cave together. The Wudangzong elder was even more shocked. He knew that in front of Wudang Mountain, they had arranged a large sect formation. It is impossible for anyone to crack the formation and break into Wudangzong. Suddenly, a bright light shot in from the entrance of the cave, and after Luo Qingshan led thousands of elites into the entrance, the expressions of the elders changed. Thousands of elites rushed into Wudang Mountain together. Among them, there are many strong men with top-notch talents. They are carrying spirit beasts and staring at the elders. Above the high hall, Wudang sect's sect master Zhao Wou had a calm expression, as if he had expected Dagon to break in. However, his indifference did not last long. Beside Luo Qingshan, there stood a 6-color god phoenix with the blood of a sacred beast. Beside the god phoenix, a little earth dog that seemed harmless to humans and animals was jumping on a huge boulder. The biggest reason why Yunlanzong was eliminated was that he underestimated this little dog. At this moment, after seeing Wang Dao, Zhao Wou's indifferent expression quickly disappeared, replaced by a solemn expression. Although it is a spirit beast of mortal bloodline, the magic weapon in his hand is so powerful that even sect master Yunlan can't resist a blow. Be careful, be careful. After seeing Wang Dao, the other elders didn't worry a bit. I thought, there are many sect masters here, you little dog, what else can you do to us? But the next moment, the Zongmin elders completely regretted their thoughts. Wang Dao took out the terrifying Purgatory God Club again. With just a light wave, Wudang Mountain was quickly razed to the ground, and the blazing sun shot in from the air. The entire half of Wudang Mountain was torn apart by a strange force. Everyone's complexion changed completely. But it is true that Teodi sells the natal artifact that motivates the Black Dog Emperor, and this power is indeed crushed. Luo Qingshan, leading the crowd and the beasts, approached the group of sect bosses. Luo Qingshan's frosty eyes shot everyone in the room coldly, and his gaze shot out, making the elder Zongman panic. The majesty of the female emperor continued to rise at this moment, just like an emperor, and the domineering arrogance of the entire Wudang Mountain continued to increase. Those sect leaders all felt that breathing was starting to become difficult, and their legs trembled even more. Regarding the Yunlin sect, the elder of the sect originally believed that a woman who had just ascended the throne was not domineering at all. But now, when facing Luo Qingshan's eyes, these old monsters who have been cultivated for hundreds of years are completely shocked. Such an emperor made many sect disciples in the audience unable to hold their bodies anymore. If it were not for the support of the spirit beasts behind them, they would have collapsed to the ground at this time. In an instant, the Wudang Mountain that had been cut in half, golden light appeared one after another, and various strange beasts appeared one after another. Seeing such a posture, Wang Dao beside him gave a cold snort. He didn't expect that in front of him, someone would dare to call out his spirit beast. Really knowing how to live and die. In Wang Dao's mind, the ethereal voice of the system continued to sound. After mastering the spirit beast illustration book, Wang Dao can check any spirit beast at will, as well as their weaknesses and attack methods. With the spirit beast illustration book, any ferocious spirit beast has no chance of winning in front of it. With all kinds of spirit beasts in front of him, Wang Dao began to look through the book of spirit beasts with relish. But before long, Wang Dao's face was full of disappointment. These spirit beasts are simply too ordinary, seeming mighty and majestic, but there are flaws everywhere. At this time, Wang Dao looked at the sect elders who were still sitting behind him. I am really curious, are these old men, the spirit beasts summoned, will they be very strong? Wudangzong, in Wudang Mountain. Iori Yanya Cicada, Abafin Ning Weasel, Hanyu Beluju. Wang Dao flipped through the book of spirit beasts and read out the spirit beasts next to the elder Zongman. And those spirit beasts, seeing Wang Dao's mere mortal beasts, had such an arrogant posture, they stared at Wang Dao with murderous aura. When many sect elders saw this, they even shouted, "Naughty animal, it's not your turn to speak here, something that is arrogant. It's ridiculous. Mortal-level evil beasts dare to run wild here, relying on divine tools. I want to see how many times you can spur them." The elders of all denominations spoke exactly the same, mocking Wang Dao in a mocking tone. Wang Dao's words stopped abruptly, and the elders looked at Luo Qingshan behind them triumphantly. For them, this great goddess will definitely be wiped out by them if she trespasses on Wudang sect today. And this evil animal will surely become a Chinese meal for their spirit beasts. But at this moment, Wang Dao yawned lazily. Sorry, even if my master isn't there, I will still be so arrogant. The spirit beasts beside you are all rubbish to me. Wang Dao said indifferently, and the spirit beasts that were full of evil spirits, at this moment, could not wait to tear Wang Dao's whole body to pieces. When all sect elders heard this, their expressions changed even more. This mortal beast is so arrogant. They couldn't wait to order Luo Qingshan and her spirit beasts to be eaten by all the beasts now. Luo Qingshan on the side saw the anger of the Zongman elders and Wang Dao's arrogant attitude. Cannot help but smile. This Wang Dao always treats others with a superior appearance. Right, my dignified female emperor, the emperor of the Dagon dynasty, my Luo Qingshan spirit beast should also be so arrogant, and should have a posture of looking over the world. The elder of the Yin-Yang sect was trembling with anger. Desecrating his spirit beast is equivalent to desecrating his sect. The face of the sect, he will defend it with death. Rong Chen secretly Piaolu. Tear this dog to pieces for me. Nah. With an order, a six-colored elk leapt up. The antlers were like a mirror, exuding a cold air, and in those six-colored cold eyes, there was a constant flow of cold light, even more so. Increased the coolness of the edge. The other sect elders no longer hesitate. Orders one after another to tear Wang Dao into pieces. For a time, in the entire Wudang Mountain, countless spirit beasts, with killing intent, opened their fangs and claws, and flew toward Wang Dao. Countless spirit beasts bloomed with fierce killing intent, and their hostility filled the entire Wudang sect. A thick haze quietly shrouded Wudangzong. The six-color Shinfang standing next to Wang Dao also felt this monstrous killing intent and this terrifying deterrent, causing Shinfang to tremble. Facing the strangulation of the beasts, Wang Dao stood motionless on the boulder. On him, a majestic breath radiated from the inside out, with brown pupils staring domineeringly at the beast in front of him. The elk rushed in front of Wang Dao first, but the next moment, he felt the aura permeating Wang Dao's body. Suddenly his body was out of control and his head slammed against the rock beside him. Boom! Other spirit beasts rushed to the side one after another, and Wang Dao stood on the boulder in peace. Gun smoke filled the entire Wudang mountain, and the violent impact made the elders of the Zongmin stand up. Their eyes are full of horror. How is this going? Such a weird scene made the elders of the sect look at Wang Dao in surprise. There are even more elders flying into the dust, looking for their pets. Elder Yin and Yang sect, when the elk buried in the dust was found, the elk had already lost consciousness. Because of the violent impact, the sharp blade on the elk's head was even broken. Rong Chen secretly floating the deer. Wake up, what happened on earth? What happened? This wicked animal didn't do anything, so why? When the Zongmin elder looked at Wang Dao again, in their eyes, there was only fear. Fear, accompanied by the breath of death, permeated the entire Wudang sect. This made them think of what Wang Dao said just now. The spirit beasts around you are rubbish to me. Is it really so? Wang Dao did not stop, only to see his mouth whispering. Luo Qingshan on the side felt a bit hot in his chest, and his spiritual consciousness was full of words that he had never seen before. But at this moment, Luo Qingshan could read it subconsciously. The first paragraph of the God of Good Fortune. Extinct. A horrible suction force from top to bottom immediately surrounded the spirit beasts to the center. At the same time, Wang Dao and Luo Qingshan stretched out their hands together with a slight force, and the next moment the spirit beasts screamed. For hundreds of years, Wudang Mountain, which was bred by Wudang sect, was torn to pieces by a monster at this moment, and the entire fairy mountain was incomplete. Dozens of spirit beasts of various shapes fell into a pool of blood just for a moment. Above the spirit-level spirit beast, the owner and the spirit beast's body are shared. When the spirit beast is hurt, the owner will also feel the same pain. Countless sect elders fell to the ground due to severe pain at this moment, and they could only make heavy breathing sounds. The supreme sect master, who was always above him, faced Wang Dao, but was so embarrassed. But Wang Dao grabbed the hoof of a spirit beast and said to Liukai Shinfang, "This hoof is delicious at first glance. Use your sacred fire to bake it and have an extra meal today." Liukai Shinfang did not hesitate, looking at the bloody hoof, exhaling sacred fire in his mouth, and instantly roasted the flesh and blood. Wang Dao hurriedly took it, unable to resist the temptation of delicious food, took out the condiments and added it, and swallowed his hoofs hungrily. Wang Dao smacked his lips, grabbed the tricolor sky-swallowing python on the side, and broke it without hesitation. The terrible voice of the master came from the side, which made the other sect elders terrified. Subsequently, Wang Dao dug up a green-brown snake gall and threw it to Liukai Shinfang. This snake gall is a great tonic, but it can only be eaten raw. Take it back and make a cold dish at the cupboard door of the dynasty. It will taste good. Luo Qingshan. Wang Dao's killing did not stop there. The spirit beasts in front of them that had long lost their minds, as long as Wang Dao thought about them, could instantly turn into a lot of delicacies. At this moment, the Zongmin elders who were present saw that their pet was slaughtered wantonly, but they did not dare to move. Their eyes seemed to emit flames, but no one dared to take the lead anymore. Wang Dao didn't make a move at all, so he defeated their spirit beasts with a single blow. The strength alone made them feel terrified. Finally, Luo Qingshan on the side couldn't stand it anymore. She looked at Wang Dao and said, "Well, these few spirit beasts are enough for you to eat. Let the rest of the spirit beasts let them go. After all, they are about to work hard for me." Although countless sect elders hated Luo Qingshan's tough methods, at this moment, all looked at Luo Qingshan gratefully. After all, life is saved. Now, the Zongmin elders no longer have any thoughts of resistance, and even the Zongmin chooses to submit to the Dagon. When Luo Qingshan saw that many sects chose to follow her, Luo Qingshan's frosty face showed a rare embarrassment. The ending of this matter is not that simple yet. This time, Luo Qingshan sent troops to send generals to Wudangzong to encircle and suppress all sect elders. Behind this incident, the biggest purpose is to shock the world. The arena and the dynasty are not at odds with each other, but behind the dynasty, there is a more secret existence. The aristocratic clan formed by family relatives, this powerful force, has long been entrenched in the dynasty. This time, Luo Qingshan planned to frighten these aristocratic clan families while attacking the sect. Otherwise, if they fight against the Dali dynasty in the future, once these people turn back, the problem will be troublesome. At this time, Luo Qingshan's expression was cold and she ordered. Each will obey orders, and I will give you the qualifications to make judgments in the name of the great goddess. After all, the shadow on the side threw out a stack of scrolls, and inside were all the sins committed by the big sects. Kill if you want to kill, catch if you want, don't be merciless. If anyone dared to resist, they should be punished as treason and be executed immediately. After a word, countless sect elders showed incredible expressions. They could not imagine that Luo Qingshan's determination today was so terrifying. Yanzong, precisely because of Luo Qingshan's decisive killing, has now become a defeated sect. Could it be that she, Luo Qingshan, wants the sect that has been established for hundreds of years to become extinct again? She doesn't want to submit at all. Luo Qingshan, don't go too far. The rivers and lakes and the dynasty have nothing to do with each other. We are willing to be reconciled by a lot of trouble, and we have already given face. The prince of a country, should we treat our lives as livestock? Countless sect elders all stood up at this moment. However, Luo Qingshan calmly looked at a group of extremely angry sect elders. The cold expression on her face did not melt at all. She sneered and said, "So what? Did you think that Luo Qingshan was so foolish? You're Xiao Juju, I really didn't know Luo Qingshan." At this time, the generals behind Luo Qingshan summoned their spirit beasts and walked together in front of the sect elders, their expressions cold. Those spirit beasts had long been subdued by Wang Dao, and the elders were all traumatized to varying degrees. How can they resist the elite generals? In an instant, the elders of the Zongmen were subdued, and there were more screams. The elders on the list, the elders who were related to the family, and the guilty, can't run away. As Luo Qingshan said, the guilty person should be killed, and no one can escape. She Luo Qingshan will not kill by mistake, but she will not miss anyone. This is also a shock, on behalf of her Luo Qingshan's wrist. An hour later, the generals clasped their hands and wiped the blood from their hands. The execution has been completed, and the remaining sect elders who are still alive are all innocent people. Luo Qingshan pulled out a sneer at the corner of her mouth. She looked at the remaining people again and said coldly, "Now, you will be members of my Dagon dynasty, defend Dagon to the death. You guys, are you willing?" Seeing this, the surviving Zongmen elders knelt down in front of Luo Qingshan. They no longer had the arrogant posture just now. One after another bowed to Luo Qingshan's feet. There was still a trace of horror on their faces. After this blood baptism, they already understand Luo Qingshan's resolute working style, and her decisiveness. It was they who underestimated the great goddess. In these people's hearts, Luo Qingshan was a little bit more in awe of Luo Qingshan. Luo Qingshan smiled satisfied, and immediately restored that majestic look. What she wants is this result. If these people are not deterred today, the sect of the past will gather strength again, and there will be hidden dangers from within the dynasty. Today, what happened in Wudang Mountain quickly spread in the dynasty and the arena. After knowing that Luo Qingshan blood-bathed the entire sect, everyone showed a look of horror. According to the national decree, the elixir of the sect, the heavenly materials and the treasures, will be sent to the dynasty one by one. Carriage after carriage of precious elixirs were transported into the Dagon dynasty. The nearby small dynasties did not dare to watch the fire from the other side, for fear that the flames would hurt themselves and lead to the destruction of the country. In the face of this bloody truth, countless people who underestimated the Dagon Empress did not dare to speak again. Wang Dao has also been remembered. His strength is too abnormal. I really didn't expect that our emperor would be so courageous that he not only returned to the sect, but now also strengthens his national strength. I admire him. We are bold in doing things, we are astute in means, and we work hard, no one can match. My dynasty is going to rise quickly in the hands of this female emperor. Countless people of great help praised Luo Qingshan even more. Up to this moment, they also truly identified Luo Qingshan. Dagon Dynasty, deep. In the main hall, Luo Qingshan was wrapped in pale pink Chinese clothes, and the outer skin was white gauze. The drape of the clothes was excellent. The silver hair was more gorgeous than the moon, and the eyes that were as deep as the starry sky were indescribably moving. Below him, hundreds of civil and military officials knelt down to the ground. Shadow took a half step forward, bowed respectfully to the ground, facing Luo Qingshan, and said, "Your Majesty, this time the sect has returned, the personnel have been counted, and the treasures of the heavens and materials in the sect are still being counted." Luo Qingshan nodded blankly. At this moment, she looked down at the hundreds of civil and military officials. "Today, the matter of the sect has been resolved. What are the opinions of the officials now?" As soon as this remark came out, many civil servants began to make suggestions one after another. Since Luo Qingshan returned to the sect, Dagan's national strength is now very abundant, and now, the national strength is abundant, their next step is to solve the external worries. It is definitely the first choice to conquer the territory and expand the territory of the Dagon. The suggestions put forward by the civilian officials are basically to send troops to expeditions. However, Luo Qingshan shook his head after hearing the opinions of the officials. Expanding the territory of my Dagon is definitely an urgent matter, but now Dagon has not been fully integrated, and the real internal worries have not been eliminated. At this time, the civil and military officials all showed doubts. After returning to the sect and strengthening the dynasty's forces, hasn't the internal worries been completely resolved? When Emperor Qian Huang was reigning, although he also wanted to return to the sect, he did not make any strong means. The return to the sect was postponed until now. It can be said that in the past 100 years, Luo Qingshan, as the Empress, was the first to break the contract between the dynasty and the rivers and lakes, and was also the first to successfully return to the sect. Although relying on violence, it is indeed like this now. Next, Luo Qingshan directly spoke to the civil and military officials. There are not only sectarian forces in the dynasty, but also a more complex relationship. That is, the family clan. When the civil and military officials heard this, they couldn't help taking a breath. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.